Hi, I'm Kelly Law from Team Canada. We're coming up next on TSN.
2001, a Scott Odyssey. The 20th anniversary of the Scott Tournament of Hearts has brought together Canada's finest women curlers. On the line, a Canadian championship, a trip to the Worlds in Switzerland, and a berth in the Canadian Olympic trials. It promises to be a week to remember here in Sudbury. You've got the best seat in the house as we begin our Odyssey, the 2001 Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN. What a year it's been for Kelly Law and company. Canadian champions, world curling champions, and now they're back as Team Canada looking to defend their national championship in Sudbury. She's been here before. It was a couple of years ago in Charlottetown. Renee Sonnenberg and her Alberta championship team struggled 5-6. Can the Alberta Rose smell sweet this year? The city of Sudbury likes to boast that it is one of the sunniest towns in all of Ontario, and on a day like this, who can argue? Hi everyone, and welcome to Sudbury on this brilliant but cold day for our opening day coverage of this 2001 Scott Tournament of Hearts, the 20th anniversary of Scott's sponsorship of the Canadian Women's Curling Championship, and so lots of special events are planned the entire week. Kelly Law returns as the defending Canadian champion. She will beat Team Canada and look to repeat as a champion for the first time since Sandra Schmerler repeated back in '93 and '94. It is an experienced field with that touch of inexperience, which should make it a very interesting week. Our first game features the defending champion, Kelly Law, as she goes against Alberta, and returning for her second time, Renee Sonnenberg. And now with their thoughts, let's go inside the Sudbury Arena and join Lyndon Ray.
Well, Ray, it's been 20 years of Scott Tournament of Hearts championships. Do you remember them all?
20 great years. Remember them? You're crazy. I can hardly remember my name.
Well, when we look at teams, to begin with, we always talk about experience because it's not just a curling event. You have to think about the fans, the media, all the things that go around the event as well. So who can get down to the curling? Who has the experience to settle down? We've kind of separated out the teams into 3 different groups. First of all, those with lots of experience. Team Canada, Kelly Law back again. 15th time for Colleen Jones, Kathy Floyd in her 10th appearance, and Michelle Ridgway had 4 appearances, but yes, they were quite a while ago. Then we look at the teams with some experience. Ontario, Sherry Madaw's been with 2 different provinces, actually. We're going to see Alberta first round. PEI Shelley Bradley and Heather Strong from Newfoundland have some of that great experience. The teams that will have to get on the ice and get that experience early, Quebec, Manitoba, BC, and the territories all need to settle down, get on the ice, and play well. Ray, the one thing I look for in the teams to do early, it's kind of like a movie script. Go out with a plan. Know exactly what you want to accomplish. Be aggressive when you have the hammer. Settle down a little bit. Keep it open when you don't. The team that has a great plan and follows that script is going to win.
Well, this game's interesting, too, because you've got a team with a little bit of experience and against the world champion, Kelly Law. And right. Really, that's the team to beat, in my opinion, this week. They look great. I think they prepared themselves well, and they're ready to go. And they really are. They look, they show it, you know. Renee Sonnenberg in Charlottetown a couple of years ago got off to a very good start, especially with draw weight. She made all those key draws. Later on in the week, she kind of lost that confidence and lost control. I think because she had that 1-year experience that she's in a much better position, but she's going to have to play very, very well against Kelly. This Canadian team, this Team Canada, will be very tough to beat this week.
The question, of course, is the preparation. Will she miss the play-down route? Kelly Law is back to try and defend her Canadian championship.
The Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN from Sudbury, Ontario is brought to you by White Swan. Quality and value you can count on.
So let's take a look at all the teams participating in this 2001 Scott Tournament of Hearts. And Linda Ray, we talked about the experience. Kelly Law, of course, Rennie Sonnenberg now for a second time. BC, though, Shelley McDonald is a rookie, as is Manitoba's Karen Young. But you know you have to be good to get out of Manitoba. Kathy Floyd returns. She's perennial with Heidi Hanlon in New Brunswick. Heather Strong is back for a 4th straight year out of Newfoundland. Colleen Jones, 15th appearance at a Scott Tournament of Hearts. Sherry Madaw is here for a 3rd time, but skipping for Ontario the 1st time. Shelley Bradley is experienced. Marie-France LaRouche is a former Canadian junior champion, making her debut. Michelle Ridgway is back after a long absence. And Carrie Cooey, 1st-timer from the Yukon Northwest Territories. As we welcome you inside the Sudbury Arena, the home of the Ontario Hockey League Sudbury Wolves, who are on the road for 8 games until early March because of the Scott Tournament of Hearts. Here are all the games on the ice, and Manitoba and Karen Young, a couple of 1st-timers, open up against each other. New Brunswick goes against Saskatchewan, so that's Kathy Floyd against Michelle Ridgway. Our featured game, of course, is Canada against Alberta, while Nova Scotia, Colleen Jones, 2-time Canadian champion, goes against Ontario from the Coldwater Curling Club, skipped by Sherry Madaw. And those teams who get a first draw bye include British Columbia, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and the Yukon Northwest Territories. The team saw the ice for the very first time yesterday in practice. They all said it was swingy. Let's read the ice now with Ray, brought to you by Nokia.
2 of the very best are here. Lloyd Stanzo, BJ Gagnon. Lots of curl, late movement around that center guard, 3.5 to 4 feet of curl. Around the corner guard, going to the wings, and you can get there about 4 feet. As the game progresses, you may get a little bit more curler later on, 5th, 6th, and 7th. From the outside in, about 3.5. We'll start with that. Now, you have to watch the slide path as the game progresses. It can flatten out a little bit. Talk to the ice makers, no problem. They don't expect any problem with frost. It's first draw ice, so you have to be a little careful. It could change a bit. Everybody will go to school.
Now let's meet these 2 teams, the defending Canadian and world champions from the Royal City Curling Club in New Westminster. The lead is Diane Nelson, Georgina Wheatcroft, Julie Skinner, and their skip is Kelly Law. And representing Alberta from the Sexsmith Curling Club, Sexsmith, about 15 minutes north of Grand Prairie. Lead is Karen McNamee, Tina McDonald, Marcy Balderston, and their skip, Rennie Sonnenberg. Kelly Law, Rennie Sonnenberg ready to do battle. Now in this first game, they had a draw to the button competition to determine who would get the hammer in the first end. Right, Team Canada won that. So as Rennie Sonnenberg puts the brush down, the Alberta lead, Karen McNamee, will get us going here in this opening draw of the 2001 Scott Tournament of Hearts.
Well, Ray, we talked about experience of the various teams. The other thing it comes down to is how you get off to a great start. If you can get a good game under your belt in this first round, you gain so much confidence going into the rest of the week.
And that's actually what happened to Rennie Sonnenberg in Charlottetown. She got off to a very good start, and as I mentioned in my opening comments, you know, she had a good feel for draw weight. And of course, Linda, if you can't draw, you can't
skip.
Thank you.
You know, 20 years and we're finishing each other's sentences. It's kind of scary.
It is scary, for sure. But I really think that you have to, it's like, and we'll experience the same thing in the next couple of weeks when we go off to the Nokia Briar, is that your first Briar, you know, it just isn't another Bonspiel all of a sudden. And it's all the charisma and all the glitz that goes around the Scott and the Briar. And you really have to be able to adjust it. Now, Rennie has been through that once already. She left that Scott in Charlottetown fairly satisfied. She didn't like the way it finished at the end, but she left, you know, satisfied with the way they played. But now it's different. You come back here, and you really believe in your hearts that you can win this thing. Unfortunately, she gets to play the best team in the world at present.
And Diane Nelson's rock for Team Canada rolled, but it looks like it's hanging on as a biter because Karen will go after it.
The other thing, in talking to to Diane and Georgie and Julie and Kelly last night at the banquet, they just really seem to be in a nice, neat zone. They just seem to be so relaxed and feel so good about themselves. They had a great trip to Europe, Linda, and played some top teams. I think they won the Bonspiel in Switzerland, and so they really looked confident.
In fact, they beat Lucia Ebnother of Switzerland, who they beat in the final of the Ford Worlds in Glasgow.
I was going to actually mention that, Vic, because you knew that I knew that.
I took away the only thing you know.
But just knowing that you like to mention those little Swiss names.
Well, the teams will be learning about the ice, and so far it looks like they have a pretty good grasp of it. We're talking about weight now, and these ice times are brought to you by Karcher. Between the hog lines, we're going to measure. Hits will be about 9.5 seconds, hack weight about 11. Draw will fluctuate. We're looking at to start at about 14 seconds, and the guard 15.5 plus. Of course, as they're learning about the swing of the ice, they're also going to be learning about the weight and seeing if that changes as the game progresses.
And it may very well do so, Linda. It got very quick yesterday in practice, and BJ was saying that there's a good chance that could move to 25 or around 24 log line to T-line now, so it could get quicker. You have to be careful.
The other thing too is that the hot shots ran late, and I'm not sure if they had a chance to do the proper preparation. Is that a consideration on the ice, do you think?
I think they had. They did
have enough?
Yeah, they did what they were going to do. The opening ceremonies were earlier this morning, so.
Same weight. Normal.
The hot shots, of course, is the skills competition they hold before the event, and the winner of that, of course, gets a brand new car.
And we'll show you that later in the week. It's interesting, as I look across the sheets, Linda, all the first stones were played into the rings.
It's not something we would expect to be different than this, Vic. First game, first round, we're going to see teams be playing very conservatively, but my opening point was, I believe the team that wins will be the one that puts together the appropriate plan for their opponent. You can't come out and play open all the time anymore. Teams are just too good. You're not going to get the misses. So as we watch across all the sheets of ice, the first game, first end will be very conservative, but I believe you have to put it to the other team when you have the hammer, be aggressive at those right moments, and it's the team that does that well that's going to come out on top at the end of the week.
And as always, we'll keep you up to date with all the games as we move through this very first draw, so you'll be, no matter where you are in our country, you'll know what's happening out there.
And it won't sit, just spins out. As we play third stones in this first end, Team Canada, Kelly Law against Alberta, and Renee Sonnenberg.
I got a 4-3-1 on that other draw. Yep. Yep.
Julie Skinner, of course, has skipped for British Columbia and lives in Victoria and makes the commute across the water to play with the team in New Westminster. It's always been difficult for them, but they put this team together with the view last year of winning, and right away they did it.
Nice plan.
It was.
Hey. Nice shot, Julie.
They were saying also last night, Linda, that they just had so much fun in
was
the
curling
last,
so much I thought it might
year,
need it.
and all the traveling and reaping the benefit of the rewards of being the world champion. This Scott event, and we just can't say it enough. Robin Wilson, the coordinator, and the Scott people just put this event together every year, and it's so marvelous. The competitors will tell you, everybody that's ever played on it, it's tremendously well organized. Competitors are there up front at all times.
Whoa! Whoa!
Now, I like to say that Scott Paper is not just a sponsor. They're a company that cares and wants to build an environment in which our top women athletes can perform at their best, and they do it every year, and they're just a wonderful sponsor. And we again say the way to show your appreciation at home is to support their products.
20 years. I remember them all, Lou. Every one of them.
Well, we won't test you.
No, you better not. I know where Balder, Manitoba is now, though.
Do you know where Sexsmith, Alberta is?
No, I don't. I'm not from Alberta, Vic. But thanks for asking.
Not far from Grand Prairie. Skip Stones have come in a very cautious beginning to this opening game of the Scott. Renee Sonnenberg. Linda, she said, if anything, they learn from their first time here, because they have to enjoy it more. To realize, you know, that we're here in a spot where a lot of other teams would like to be.
But you know, it's true, you can't play your best unless you're relaxed as well. So the fact that you've been here once, it's funny, isn't it, Ray? Even one end, one rock sometimes. Renee now has that one under her belt. You can now realize this is a sheet of ice. These are 8 stones for our team. We know how to do this. You know, put everything else aside. Yes, it's in an arena and it's a huge event, but I'm going to throw my rock with the right weight at the broom, and then I'm going to be successful. And sometimes it takes that first time through to realize that's what it's all about. Enjoy it and just concentrate on the game.
This young lady has one of those neat habits. She makes the right shot at the right time.
Clean. Clean. Yep.
Front end of Diane Nelson, Georgina Wheatcroft.
I think back to the World Championship, Linda, when she made those 2 out-turn draws and she was really in trouble in the 6th end of that semi-final game.
Yeah, they were very, very difficult shots, and they were playing a very aggressive style game in the 4-rock rule, and the team just knew they had to make those big shots, and Kelly came through that end. Not a bad year, too, when we talk about the fact that they are world champions and had a great bonspiel in Europe. Think about the JVC-TSN skins game and all the cash they won just before Christmas, so it really has been one of those terrific years.
Well, that shot that she threw for $31,000 is certainly a highlight of the season. Went in the hack and threw that
Just clean, easy.
return hit for 31 grand.
Clean, clean. Whoa, 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 whoa. No.
And the shooter will spin out the back, so it'll be a throw through and a blank for Canada here in this first.
Okay. It's a good throw. It's good to release. Okay, just a little more. That's nice, firm. I like that way too. I like that way too, and you can throw it here.
You can hear Marcy Balderston talking to Renee. She's going to be an important factor in this game. Marcy has some experience, both mixed and in women's, and really is a good person to have in the house for Renee.
And Marcy Balderston, a former winner of the Ford Hot Shots. Kelly Law is the defending champion. She won a year ago, and Allison Franey from New Brunswick.
Yeah. Chop. Blank.
So a cautious beginning. A blank in this first end. Nicely underway. Team Canada, Alberta. This is the 2001 Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN. Now let's begin our look around other games with our extended look here at the Scott. We'll drop into the game between New Brunswick and Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan with the hammer and line 1 with backing at the back of the 12. Final stone for the Saskatchewan skip, Michelle Ridgway, in her 5th appearance at the National Championship, a 5-time Saskatchewan winner, and this is an open draw for 2. With Laurie Keller calling the line at 3rd. The team from the Royal Caledonian up 2-0 on Kathy Floyd from the Thistle St. Andrews in St. John. Elsewhere, Quebec with the hammer will take it through to the second after a blank against Manitoba. Saskatchewan up 2-0. Our featured game, Team Canada holds on to the hammer there. And Nova Scotia, Ontario with a blank. Ontario, Sherry Medall with the hammer against Colleen Jones. Here in Sudbury.
Hey, Di. Yeah, I would try the same.
Well, Julie Skinner holding the broom for this one, because for the moment, Kelly has left the ice. So it'll just be Georgina sweeping for Diane Nelson. Now, I talked about a plan, and so far this end is looking like both teams have a plan. Renee Sonnenberg for Alberta has put up the center line guard, and Julie is calling the come around.
You're way out there still.
They should finish pretty well. They'll come at the end. Just a little too much ice, looks like, Linda.
Still adjusting a little bit as we learn about the ice as they go to school, as you said, Ray.
Hack, wait. Okay. Actually, Karen, let's just do this right now. Normal. Normal? Yeah.
But there's an indication that Renee really wants to play the game fairly open, because she's not looking for the roll in behind the guard, Victor. She wants to roll to the outside, try and keep the play away from that that guard.
The Alberta lead, Karen McNamee.
Whoa.
Kelly Law with last rock in this in.
Weight's coming down a bit. Wait now. Yep. Yes, for the roll. Hurry. Hard. Hurry hard. Hard. Tina, your way. Right over. Right over. Good shot.
Rolls it away just a little bit. Just a reminder, tsn.ca/curling for stats and info. Sometime this week, you'll get a chance to talk with some of the curlers online, and of course, all kinds of questions for Ray. The harder, the better.
Yeah, you have to live someplace that has more than 400 people.
Whoa! Whoa! Right over, right over, right over. Shot, die.
Half a roll.
Because, for example, we've already told you, Sexsmith we know is, we know it's in that province.
Well, we know it's someplace in there.
I actually think you missed it, Ray. It's in the northwest corner.
Yak!
Well, I covered the
It was a good
northwest.
try. You should have just covered the whole province.
Yes, hard! Hurry hard!
Just trying to squeak by here.
Tina McDonald. And again, rolls it away.
Nice roll here will get you an extra point. Kelly looking to roll behind her own guard, the long guard just off the center line. Georgina Stone.
Linda, does it say anything, though, about Renee Sonnenberg and the way she's approached it? I mean, Ray has said she could have gone for the hit and roll behind the off-center guard. Why isn't she?
Well, we've talked about the experience level of the two teams, and I think Renee, there's a very nice
Now,
roll.
what's the roll like that? And
Beautiful.
great shot, Georgina Wheatcroft.
Renee was trying to keep the game a little simpler until she got back the hammer. Now, Georgina's made the great shot, so Alberta will have to react. And eventually, when I talk about having a plan, you can't keep reacting. You have to be the one to be proactive, put the rock in there first and get them coming after you. It's just too long a week to have a constant game plan where you're only hitting and reacting to your opponent.
Great roll by Georgie.
Coming a little bit
Just
now.
hack, still hack.
Just the thing you can't do with this, you can't miss them both.
Misses one
That's a good throw,
and
Tina.
misses both and out the back.
Just that's the one thing you can't do. You're going to get the top one if you're not going to get the back one.
I think 4. I have maybe 13 and a half down here.
Okay.
Out turn draw to the outside.
This one gets handed to the sweepers. They'll try and keep it behind the tee line so there's no hit and roll towards that button area for the opponent.
It's got money. Two-liner better.
Diane Nelson closest to the stone.
Hurry!
Julie Skinner's out in front.
Sorry, they'll take this back as far as they
Go
can.
right back, guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Get it right back.
Yeah, I think, guys.
That's good. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Slides. Nice shot. George.
Back 12 as Team Canada sets themselves up for a possible deuce here in the second.
Right on the nose.
Two nice short shots by Georgina, and Alberta is going to have to hit this open one and hope that Team Canada puts a rock in a better spot as the end progresses, so they might have a chance for that roll.
Easy. Whoa. Whoa. Yep.
McDonald and McNamee.
It's a great shot, Marcy.
The M&M front end.
Freeze on that,
Okay.
but you guys like that?
I'll have to stay up a little later at night now and work on my stuff, I guess.
Whatever. Control here. Control? Yeah. Okay. Control, guys.
Gonna hit this, you could draw.
Yes.
Clean.
Down.
Yeah.
Clean.
Whoa, clean.
Clean.
Clean. Whoa. Whoa.
Clean.
Whoa. Clean.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Hurry. Nice shot.
Right on the nose to lie two again. If you're going to draw, Linda, as Ray suggests, what would you have done in that case?
Well, you would have ignored that one in the back 12 and drawn to the open side again, but making it a little tougher, you have to be touching the 8-foot now to be second shot. But you didn't need to hit it.
Normal. Clean. Easy. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa.
Take it, Tina.
Good shot.
You could freeze to the face of this and you really set this end up and put yourself in a position to maybe score 3.
For the freeze. Be careful,
Yeah.
one.
Kind of like that.
I like that.
Just a move. Big time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So 4-ish?
Yep.
Good call.
The 4-ish they're talking about is that hog-to-hog time of 14 seconds.
Weights here. Line's good. Gotta bend
The front
it.
end also time back line to first hog to know if it needs sweeping.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Line.
Weights here.
Wait, we need
Line's
to.
great. Line's great. Yep.
Now Nelson Wheatcroft
Weights
trying to
here.
drag it right up to the face. Little bump.
Good shot.
And now there's some backing.
Good shot.
It's pretty good. We're just losing lines, so that's good. Good sweeping.
Finish shot.
Well, she'd like to get a little hit on this and a little bit of a roll.
Normal weight, hit and roll towards center.
Try and roll it over here.
Wouldn't mind killing that back one on the way.
First stone for the Alberta skip here in the second.
Yep. Yep. Hard. Hard. All the way. Hard. All the way.
Almost from release, the front end of McNamee and McDonald on it.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
And the jam at the back. And now 2 could be 3.
Shoot.
That was a good example, Linda, of how they used the back stone, and now a terrific opportunity here to
You gave me a little more.
hit this one
that's
here.
good. Yep.
And you can see what she's taking. She'll try and roll the rock. She doesn't want to kill the back one. Careful of that one, so she'll try and roll the rock
Same ice I gave you guys.
over into this area here. Try and get it over in here.
With that, we should be able to get a roll in. So.
Okay, so what kind of weight control? Or?
It's always interesting to watch the teams flip-flop. When Renee played her takeout, she played from the inside out and she got lots of curl. That's why the rock jammed. Kelly's chosen to play the straighter turn, and sometimes you have to be a little careful because they are very straight with weight.
It was a good example, Linda, of how you use the back stones to set up the extra points. First of all, the guard put you in a position, and then there was the miss.
Squeezes it by. Will the shooters hit in time? 8 foot, 12 foot, one more turn. One more, and it will hang on to the back edge.
Sweet guys.
Whoa, what a confident call that was.
Good one, Kel.
What a season you're having.
Already. That's right.
Just warped, eh? Yeah. I was waiting for that. You threw it good?
Yeah, I told him that I'd throw control plus, but I didn't have a whole lot of ice. And you know that my intern's curling, right?
Yep.
Anyway, it's fine.
Good shot.
Yep.
We will take it.
Great comment by Kelly. She throws a release with her intern that gives a little more curl than perhaps Julie, so they'll just make sure that they take the right ice for her. She took it tight ice because they wanted that roll and took the chance and got it.
Just got that last one going here.
Normal. Maureen.
Yep, yep.
Renee Sonnenberg and Alberta finding themselves in some trouble here.
Hard, guys, quick. Hard, right up, right up, right up, right up, right up. Okay. Okay. Sweet.
So a hit for 3.
Well, the picture tells the story. You don't have to do any explaining here. It's a wide open takeout for 3 points. And what a way to get out of the chute.
Wait, it's good though. It's really good.
And we talk about taking advantage of opportunities. Kelly's team did that when they drew to one of Alberta's back rocks. And it looks like if Kelly makes this, Alberta will have to take a few chances to get some of their opportunities going in their way.
Looking at the on our screen now, Lynn, you can see that the key, when you go back in this end, you talk about the miss, the unfortunate miss. You had to get the front one because from that point on, you were playing with second shot, not with shot rock, and so it really did, put Team Canada in a great position to score 2, and then with the little tap back and the jam, here's 3 points.
Nice rushing by the front end of DIANE Nelson, Georgina Wheatcroft to hold the line for their skip. Kelly Law, Team Canada, scored 3 here in the second as they begin defense of their national championship here at the Scott.
The Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN from Sudbury, Ontario is brought to you by your Husky and Mohawk Diesel Max fuel retailers.
Updating you on the scores still early in this opening draw. The Scott, Manitoba, Quebec, 2 teams brand new to the Scott, playing it wide open, although there are rocks in play in the third, as you can see there. New Brunswick and Kathy Floyd, she drew the button facing 3 to pick up a single against Saskatchewan. Our featured game has Canada up 3-0. And Ontario's Sherry Madaw missed with her final stone, flashed Nova Scotia Colleen Jones, steals one, Ontario with the hammer, as we play here in the third at the Sudbury Arena.
Well, the wide open miss by Sherry was a little bit of a shock, but you'd kind of expect the Manitoba-Quebec game, LaRouche and Karen Young to be wide open, both here for the first time. Linda, I think that's kind of expected.
Corner me, guard.
Hi, I'm Karen McNamee from Grand Prairie, Alberta, and I'm the assistant manager at the Royal Bank.
I like this call very much. Alberta knows that they can't just play along with an open game, especially after giving up 3, so they're ignoring the stone that Team Canada played into the rings and playing to the other side, putting up a corner guard.
Yep, as far as it'll come.
Oh, for Pete's sakes, let's get a hot line for Pete's sakes.
Hurry, guys. What? Jumped a bit? Must have been. Heavy out there.
Frosty or on this side? Maybe. Good day.
Hi, I'm Diane Nelson from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and I'm the Director of Sales for Harmony Communications.
It's a 63, it's the same way we're going in, right? Yeah.
You can see the call from the tee line to hog line for the Brushers.
shot for.
Linda, it goes without saying, but when you're down by 3,
Nice shot, Di.
you can't afford to make mistakes. You can't hog a stone. I mean, that's the time or the place ever, but come on, you've got to get it there.
Well, it was definitely an unfortunate
Right here, even if you tap
thing
it
to
back,
happen.
that's
I don't
okay.
think they thought the rock was all that poorly thrown. So that's one of those things that you're learning about as you play to the wings. The weight might be just a little bit different.
Yeah.
But there's still lots of opportunity with rocks in the house. And Renee is playing this end very wisely. She's not panicking. Team Canada's sitting too, but she's now playing a freeze. And so even though the corner guard didn't work out, there's still opportunities there, and she'll try those.
But Ray, doesn't that put you then again on the defensive? You've got the hammer here.
Out here,
You're forced to try and catch up right away again.
Well, you make a good point, Vic. That corner guard into the free guard zone area was the key, is a key shot on that end to try and get something going out front. But she, as Linda's mentioned, she's going to try and utilize the stones now that are in the rings. But it does, without that rock out in front, it allows Kelly Law to play, you know, to play into the ring, play the rings, play the hits, keep the weight up. And unless you make the perfect freeze, which we still think is probably the most difficult shot, you know, they can be squeezed out. And a lot of these teams, especially this Team Canada, they can throw some up weight.
McNamee with a corner freeze, and now Georgina Wheatcroft.
Nice shot.
Perfect example, Vic, of, you know, that was a pretty good throw, pretty good freeze, but just a bit on an angle. And
Hello, I'm Tina McDonald. I'm from Grand Prairie, Alberta, and I'm a controller at the Dunes Golf and Winter Club.
Lots of room.
Doesn't look here.
Tons of room.
Needs it.
Okay. Line's really nice now. Line's perfect. Yep.
Marcy Balderson, Karen McNamee, and Renee Sonnenberg trying to drag it for all it's worth.
Hi, I'm Georgina Wheatcroft from Cloverdale, BC. I'm a mother of one beautiful daughter, Alex.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Shot, George.
Nice shot.
kind of what I was talking about, Vic, when you talked about the rock out in front. This is allowing Team Canada now, because the play is in the house, to just run at everything. Unless you make the perfect freeze, you're going to have a tough time generating that extra point.
That's certainly the truth. Hogged rocks, hog line violations, whatever they are, it's something that's really hard to deal with. And they're doing the right thing, though, and Renee has to be prepared if these freezes don't work out and all the picks do work out, that she may have to make a very good shot for a single here.
T-line.
Yeah. Hey.
What's the weight on this?
13. Her first one's 14, 6, 13, 4.
Okay. Throw here.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, guys.
I'm Julie Skinner from Victoria, BC, and I'm the travel supervisor at BCAA.
Clean, yep.
Clean, yep.
Clean. Yep.
I don't think you want to sit there. You want to get that away from there if you can.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Clean, clean. Shot.
And she does sit right there, so what's the problem?
Well, the point is that she rolled over a little bit in front of her own, but if she just sits there, now you got two stones you can come up against.
Nice, not bad.
I
came up
back
kinda
a hair.
wonky.
Back 8, wait.
Just going to tap it back.
Hi, I'm Marcy Balderston. I'm from Sexsmith, Alberta. I'm mom to Sarah, Cody, and Sophie.
No line. Whoa. No line. Whoa. Gotta get over center.
Whoa! Yep, yep.
No.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No.
Tapping, tapping.
Yeah. Yep, now yep.
Yes,
Whoa,
hard,
whoa.
That's a nice shot, Linda.
It builds a little pocket up at
Yeah.
the back of the four. If Kelly isn't careful, she could jam.
Normal. Yeah, I threw a little up. Okay. normal.
So you know,
These generate the problem. Those stones right there, you got to get them by.
Yep. Yep.
Julie Skinner. Now a big scrub from Wheatcroft and Nelson, trying to hold the line, trying to avoid the jam. That little pile of stones at the back of the forefoot, and exactly what Alberta was looking for, the jam.
Well, it's funny, 2 ends in a row, we see teams generating points by using those rocks, opponents' rocks, even though they were in the house and they didn't get the guards up, got the jam from the opponent.
Well, nice call by Renee to put those stones in that position, and you saw exactly what happened. She drove it back, and now a chance to get a deuce and get yourself back in the game a little bit.
It's okay, it's that one's wide open still. Yeah.
Little frosty out there.
Marcy Balderston as we play third stones here in the third.
Line's close.
Canada leading
Just for wait.
3-0.
That's gonna be tight. Just for wait. Wait on me. Wait on me.
Whoa. Tapping a bit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No.
It's tapping. It's tapping.
No.
Yes.
Yes. No. Hard. Quick. Yes. Hard. Right. Hard.
And back far enough to lie to.
Nice shot. Nice tap back.
They played it very quietly. I kind of like that call. I think, as a matter of fact, we were thinking of freezing or tapping, and the fact that you can control it so much better with the sweeping when you play that nice quiet weight.
I didn't want to be late. You didn't time it. And I timed your first one, but orders in? Yeah.
A couple of things can happen here. You'd like to get the hit in a little roll or come across the face. The double is a little bit dangerous because you certainly don't want to jam.
You threw a couple here. Comes up. You don't need a whole lot of weight.
Yeah. Stick's okay too. Right?
Yes. Stick's good, or a little roll in front.
Flop. Okay. Good.
Although usually they hang in the middle, eh? It's nice and quiet at that end.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do if she hits an answer?
Hi, I'm Kelly Law from Coquitlam, BC, and I'm a mother to Christopher and Cameron.
And avoids the jam at the back.
No.
But it's still Alberta lying one, back edge of the 4.
So. But we listened in, and it is an interesting situation for Alberta to decide where to put their next rock.
Just eliminate at this point.
Yeah, this is a tough call. Where do you go with it?
Okay, well, there's not a lot of places to draw for second shot.
No, like unless I play this port, but that seems crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So let's guard.
You could make a little play on this one, here.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Or set it over here somehow. You don't want to set up a double.
I should do her.
Looks like she's just going to play the guard, I think. Guarding the stone here.
I think we just got a guard, eh? Well, then we leave her the tap and she makes, and then I have to make a double for one. Yeah, like an out of the rings guard. Do you like that better? Yeah. Well, yeah, but. And get the double, like.
Renee Sonnenberg wants to rethink things after a chat with her front end, and in particular, Tina McDonald.
Hit and roll behind the corner. Hit this top one, roll behind the corner. And then she has to play that and roll that way, and we might have a double. Because if I make this and she taps, I mean, we're still only getting, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But if we hit and roll, we won't be second shot.
No, but we won't be second shot with the guard either.
That's what she's talking about
my
here.
last one. Like, if I guard and she plays the tap, I got to make a tough double.
Okay.
So I think this is a better.
What's it?
Okay, Yeah, because if I roll, I can't roll very...
We can't roll very far, we're jamming.
So even just sit right here. Leave her that.
I don't like this shot.
Just to guard
You
this?
want to jam it.
Oh,
That's
I
what
don't
she
know.
said.
I mean, well, I suppose we could play it. Might
Like-
make that double.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
That would be okay.
Get her a 2. If I throw like normal weight, then we don't have to hit it. We can hit it thicker and still roll.
Okay.
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 Right there.
Going to play the little hit and roll. She's talked about a lot of shots.
Looks like if we roll, we might get the
Just
double
listen to them.
on red anyway.
If they don't make the double here, what they're saying is they would rather be faced with a situation where Kelly Law might play their open one and leave them a double for the last shot to score their 2. She's concerned about guarding.
Normal. Hi there, I'm Renee Sonnenberg, and I'm a math teacher at St. Joseph Catholic High School in Grand Prairie.
Yep. Hurry. Whoa. Hurry.
McNamee and McDonald looking for the little flip over, get the one at the back. Oh, just gave it a little kiss on the way by.
Hey.
Oh. Good try. Take this.
Very close to making the double, which would have made her life a lot easier because the rock that sticks in the house, top of the house, is third shot. So now it's up to Kelly Law to try and get some separation and not set up a double.
Hit the floor.
Yeah.
You guys.
Kick out. Clean. Yeah.
Final stone for Team Canada and Kelly Law.
Weights down a bit.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. Whoa.
Whoa. Right off.
Whoa.
Right off. That's not curling like mine did.
Kate, good shot.
Oh. Good throw. No, that
Shooter
was
rolls
normal.
too far.
Yeah, it was.
Chance for the hit
way.
for 2 now. Kelly had to roll over and stay for second shot.
A little bit more.
I think that was one of those situations where she was just learning about the ice and it didn't curl as much as she thought.
And you go back in the end, it's a pretty good call by Rennie when she went back to play the hit and almost made that double. As you mentioned, that it would have made her situation a lot nicer, but it turns out she gets the hit for 2 now. So she ended up with the right, making the right decision, I think.
Normal.
No, it's riding the line. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, 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 no.
Talk about missed opportunities. She has a chance to get 2 here, doesn't want to
Okay,
miss
good
it.
shot.
And she won't. She'll sit back edge of the 4. So great job by Renee Sonnenberg after the first hog stone by Karen McNamee. She went back, played the freezes. And so the math teacher, 1 and 1 makes 2. Let's continue with our extended look in this first draw of the Scott Tournament of Hearts. Manitoba, Quebec, 2 of the first timers. Marie-France LaRouche from Quebec, Karen Young from the Saint-Vital Curling Club in Winnipeg. And you saw the Manitoba stone, T-line 4-foot shot stone. LaRouche with a chance here to play the little tap, squeeze it through the hole, maybe pick up 2. This stone would ride the line, not curl enough, crash in front, and Karen Young opens the scoring after 2 blanks. Manitoba with a 1-0 lead. Nova Scotia with a steal of 1 in the second, playing red stones. Colleen Jones lying 2, button and top 4 against Ontario's Sherry Madaw. This, again, a position where Ontario, Andrea Laws, their second curler on the right, had a flash early, forced to try and come from behind here, gets the pick, still gives up 1. Nova Scotia another steal up 2-0. And a steal of one by New Brunswick in the third. Kathy Floyd is all tied 2-2. It's 3-2, Team Canada leading Alberta as we go to the fourth. Kelly Law will have the hammer.
Coming down, but we're still there.
Well, Ray, you and I look for little things in a game, and I really like something that happened at last end for Alberta. Not the fact that they scored 2 necessarily, but the fact that they've just given up 3 to a very good team. Renee Sonnenberg got a hogged rock from her lead that she really could have used, and still she kept to a plan where she wanted to generate 2 points, got the good shot and a lucky break, a bit of a jam, and followed through and got her 2.
Yeah, you make a good point, and I mean that. Point is she gave herself a chance to get that, and she used the rocks and the runs. I liked that when she went back to the call to play the hit and maybe catch the double. She ticked it, actually, didn't. And then, you know, she got herself in a position when Kelly rolled out to get the 2 back. But
Bumping! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
I think she showed very good composure, and we started the whole thing talking about experience and how you thought that experience that she had 2 years ago would do her well, and I think you're absolutely right.
Whoa, whoa.
It's a small point, Vic, because it's, you know, but I do live there. It's St. Vital.
St. Vital?
St. Vital, yeah. Just, you know, it's a small thing. I wouldn't.
Do you know where it is?
Yeah. Touche.
Tomato.
Well, I mean, I just, you know, I know you are a perfectionist, and I just wanted to point that out to us.
Yes.
Whoa! Right over, right over, right over. Nice shot, Di. Shot, Di.
The roll in Team Canada lying 2 4-foot.
You can see it all. This is kind of a very similar situation for Kelly. It's interesting when she got her 3 points in the same situation. Now, granted, this stone is back behind the tee line a little bit, but she went to the open side with the second shot. She's coming right in on top.
I think that is the key. The 2 probably keys, the fact the rock is behind the button and maybe a corner open. Last time, the rock that Georgina made a beautiful hit and roll with got ticked over and was dead buried. So this time they're going to try and put it behind the guard. They need it pretty well covered.
You don't need it too deep either. You just get it around the guard a little bit, top 12-foot, top 8-foot.
Sit.
Sliding a bit. Sit. Nice shot.
Good call. Great shot is right.
Well, you saw the numbers. She was curling 100% in the first 3, Georgina Wheatcroft.
She can play this game. Trying the straight run back.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Weights down! Yes, hurry that, hurry! Hard! Whoa! Yep! Whoa, whoa, up!
Great shot. Whoa. Is that any good?
Great shot and good line call by Renee. Those aren't easy when you're trying to get a little bit of an angle on the front rock and some distance between the rock that you're raising and the ones in the house.
Here's a good indication that why she's world champion. Kelly just a nice shot by Alberta, and Kelly just going right back on the offense with a come around the guard. Georgina Hawks just made this stone, so she's been asked to make it again.
Whoa, I put it out. No.
There.
Did I say Georgina Hawks? Yeah, that's her maiden name, of course.
We're there.
Wheatcroft.
Way out there.
Want me to take it back?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yep. Come on.
Go ahead, hurry.
Okay. Hey, George.
Well, the Speed Week has been going all past 7 days. Dale Earnhardt, he'll be there. Bill Elliott is on the pole. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon, just 4 of the 40 and some that will be part of the Daytona 500. You'll see it on TSN beginning noon Eastern Time. Sunday.
Well, Georgina went too deep, the redstone at the back, and Renee had a chance to come around and
I don't know.
get to the top of the forefoot.
Or we can go here.
Just witnessed the crash on the guard.
What do you guys like? The hit?
We don't have to hit it, right?
No, we don't have to hit that. You like the draw, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get by this. Yeah, we got to make sure we get by. So 4-ish. Make sure you're out.
The two choices they looked at were the hit and roll on the yellow to get behind cover, or to come around. And if you have your choice, generally speaking, the draw gives you more control over positioning of rocks, and that's the draw that they've gone with.
Wait only.
Yeah.
No line. Lots of line.
Okay, we're okay. We're okay. We can wait a step.
Just top 8.
Whoa,
whoa. Okay, nice shot.
Nice shot, Julie.
It's a good illustration too, Linda. You talked earlier in your comments in the opening talked about a script, and you can see that Kelly Law is pretty confident when she has that last rock, and she's going to generate points. And that was a very, very aggressive call, a good call, and a great, terrific shot. I mean, it's in a tremendous position.
I actually like playing a run. We can get either of these.
Okay.
No, firm weight.
Playing the run back. Had success with it earlier, so let's try it again.
Whoa, clean, whoa,
clean.
Right off, right off.
Whoa,
right
whoa,
off.
Whoa. Clean.
Right off.
No.
Whoa.
Ah.
Enough.
Not so bad.
Good serving, guys.
That's kind of why it's a good call too. You got the back one.
Oh, man. Is that straight there?
Yeah, really ran.
She likes the hit. Just nice weight, Julie.
Well, you could draw again in this situation, coming around this time the Yellowstone just off center, but Kelly's decided to play the hit and roll.
Could play the draw, as Linda mentioned, but she's playing the hit and roll.
Clean. Control.
Are you just more afraid of that stone hanging around, Linda? Is that why you play the hit?
No, I think she feels she can position it better using it, because that rock is no concern at the moment when you have the hammer.
Nice brush again by Diane Nelson.
I knew I didn't throw
Georgina
it very hard, so that's
Wheatcroft.
why I was yelling at you.
If I do, will I jam?
Good shot.
Didn't throw it very hard.
Didn't throw it
I'm like, sweet. I only asked. Oh, I didn't mind.
We'll only write off if there's no chance, okay? Otherwise, we should be heavy clean for sure.
Are we getting to the point where we're talking about degrees of cleaning now, Linda? I mean, a heavy clean as compared to just a light dusting?
Well, I think they have to be very careful. All week, we're going to have to be really careful out on the ice, because there's always a chance for debris. And I think what she's saying is just make sure you're always near it unless we say right off, which means it has no chance. If it has a chance, stay with it.
Now the roll. How far? How far? A little bit more. And it'll stop T-line 4 foot.
Shot.
Didn't have to roll much further to be a perfect shot. It is exposed a little bit, allowing Kelly a chance to come down and tap it back. We'll just listen to them.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, right? And then we'll be sitting there. Okay.
What kind of weight do you like? Hack or board or what?
I'm thinking board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That looks good, Kelly. Nice shot. Where she went? What kind of weight were you throwing?
Well, I said board when I left. Now I'm thinking hack.
Yeah. Sorry, I probably misled you a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's
you can't
not
see
half.
as much.
That's
yeah.
about a
Oh,
quarter.
I said a little less.
A live look as we continue with our extended coverage, Nova Scotia, Ontario. And the final stone for Ontario and Sherry Madod drawing against one. Nova Scotia stealing the first 2 points, leading 2-0 as we play here in the fourth.
No line. No line.
Andrea Laws on the left.
No line.
Sherry Cordinas on the
Line's
right.
good. Whoa.
Janet Brown calling the line. And she needs to bite. Good part of the button.
Back weight.
Yeah.
Stop in time, slide too far, looks like it may have. And it's another steal of one for Nova Scotia, Colleen Jones.
Whoa. Yep. Wait.
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa.
Kelly Law on the front end, we're really just talking about weight, and they talk now about something closer to hack weight to try and make good contact.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Clean.
Yep.
Clean.
Whoa!
Sit down. Nice shot, Kelly. Good shot. Good shot. Good shot. Some touch more. Good shot, Kelly. Good shot.
Well, it's a good shot, but it's not what she wanted, of course. She wanted to hold the shooter.
Nice shot, Kelly.
Thanks.
Just a little bit more than hack. That's
Yeah.
why it didn't. That's why it rolled out.
Yeah.
That's fine. These were great.
Sat on the line for a long time.
So the questioning of her weight, Linda, not the problem. She just threw more than she wanted.
Just a little bit more. That spot she was throwing is tough, though. You ride the center line for a while and then make the break. Where we're throwing here for Alberta, it's probably going to curl all the way because we're playing inside out the entire way down the sheet.
Whoa. Clean. 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 Whoa. 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 Oh. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa.
And the shooter out the back.
Alrighty. Right down the center.
And so it'll be a throw through for Kelly Law and Team Canada.
Good shot.
A little wide.
Yeah.
Assess the game so far in terms of the way the teams have played.
Well, I think both teams are playing very well, actually, Vic, and I think Alberta, as I said, has shown a great deal of composure, regrouping after giving up a 3. This end, it looked like things were going badly for Alberta again and made the really nice shots to get out of trouble. So I think Alberta at this point would be very happy with the 3-2 score and feeling like they're right back in it.
Georgina Wheatcroft
Good job.
escorts the stone through the house. And we've played 4 as we put a blank up here in the fourth. Team Canada, the defending champions, with a 3-2 lead over Alberta. Karen McNamee throws the lead stones, as does Diane Nelson. Alberta's Tina McDonald and Georgina Wheatcroft are the seconds. Marcy Balderston is the Alberta third. It's Julie Skinner for Team Canada. And the 2 skips, Alberta's Renee Sonnenberg and the reigning Canadian and world champions, Kelly Law, Team Canada. This is why it's Canada's most comprehensive curling coverage as we continue with our extended looks. Manitoba, after the steal of 1 in 3, Marie-France LaRouche and this rookie Quebec team, former Canadian junior champion of '99, Marie-France. She has a chance to give her team the lead. Valerie Grenier, Annie LeMay, the front end. Has one, T-line, 4-foot. And puts in a mirror image to pick up 2. And they have the lead, 2-1 over Manitoba. Karen Young from St. Vital will have the hammer in 5. Saskatchewan against New Brunswick. Tied 2-2, playing 4. New Brunswick's Kathy Floyd crashed with her final stone, opening the door for Michelle Ridgway from the Cali and Regina to make this draw. 1, 2, and that lousy outside biter at the top. 5-2, Saskatchewan leading. And Colleen Jones stealing the night away.
Yep, halfway.
Or stealing the afternoon away, leading 3-0 over Ontario.
Yeah, right back, guys. Yep.
Yep. Okay, fine. It wasn't bad.
So how did I do with St. Vital?
That was absolutely perfect.
Okay.
Holy man, we're going
It's
around.
amazing how you can pick things up so quickly.
Let's make this.
Well, Renee is showing us that she certainly isn't afraid to play with some rocks around, and the first rock was played very nicely by Karen, very tight to the rings. Team Canada tried to come around it, hung out a little bit too much, so they took it deep. This one they're trying to play down to it.
It's not curling.
No line.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So I can say it now, St. Vital. Do you know where it is?
Well, Winnipeg is right down about here, Vic.
Yeah.
This area here, okay. And St. Vital is kind of in the southeast corner of Winnipeg, right about there.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Try this. It's early.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just control.
Okay, Dad.
See, we only have, what, 8 more days of this? And
Maybe even board to control.
How many hours was it? 60
Nokia
hours?
Breyer coming up.
Okay, Dad.
I thought it was very comical, though, Vic, at the seniors. I think you picked out every small town that those senior men had ever visited to talk to, talk with about. Ray had to point out to us. Is that true, Ray?
He's mean to me. Oh, this is going to really move big time.
How about the guard? Yeah.
Fine.
That's fine.
Okay, Dad.
It's fine.
What happened to that?
That one all of a sudden, you're right, Jordy, that's a neat comment because it looked fine halfway down, then all of a sudden it went sideways.
Keepers were guarding. Do you want to do that or do you want to hit
That
the
may have
back
caught something.
Yeah, talk about this situation, Linda. First glance, you have a chance here if you're Alberta to lie 3. But Renee has decided to guard the shot stone sitting back edge of the 4.
Well, now Team Canada has the hammer as they blanked the last end and retained it. So it is an interesting situation. As I mentioned earlier in this end, Renee looks comfortable now, leaving rocks around even though she doesn't have last rock. And so she's playing to protect. Now that definitely caught something and is going to leave that rock open. So that's very unfortunate for Alberta.
It's a little bit of the trouble of taking those chances when you don't have the hammer, Linda.
Control?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, George.
Chance here for Georgina to hit this and get a little roll behind the center guard.
Close.
Lie 2.
No.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Close. Yeah.
This one take off on her 2. Got it by. Hold the line.
Right over.
Avoid the jam. And the shooter will sit back 12.
That may just be a soft spot out there, Linda, because that's the second or third stone in that area right there that has really made a big move. Like that one of George, they were staying off all the way down, and then all of a sudden it moved as well. So
It looks like it might be right on the edge of the 4-foot line, too.
Exactly.
And we often see sort of a different spot there, so we'll keep an eye on it. This one, they're playing down the other side of the 4-foot line, playing a come around. This is where you need something buried or frozen to get out of this difficult situation.
It's getting tighter now. We got room yet? Yep. Hey, room.
Wait there.
Okay, yeah, right to this back one then.
No, it's T-line.
Hey,
Just T-line.
we're going to lose line here, so.
that's how you defend.
I've got a quarter, not quite a quarter.
Peel the guard. Well, how much you got?
On this side.
Yeah. Why don't we just peel the guard?
I got that much on this
I like
side.
peeling the guard.
Yeah. Yeah, if I get that one, that's good too. Yep. Do you want to hit and roll in front of ours? No, I want this turn. Sorry.
hit and roll
Do you
is
want me
fine.
to hit and roll out or a corner guard?
Peel. Okay.
Oh, you don't want a corner?
Straight
okay.
peel.
I couldn't understand this one. Okay.
Why not leave it there, Linda? You know, you've got the hammer, Team Canada, use it, get behind it.
Well, the only thing is the rocks that they have in the rings now are only in the 12-foot. If you happen to leave a corner and the opponent managed to get something behind it, it might negate the 2 you have at the back of the ring. So I think Kelly feels that she wants to play this open now that they have possibilities of scoring multiple points in the house.
Oh, I want to hit bad. You guys, what do you think? Okay. Should we play the guard?
I think Renee's team's a little nervous about this whole thing, leaving the rocks at the back of the house.
Line's
nice.
good.
Clean it. It's got a curl.
Where?
It's about tight.
Clean it.
It's tight.
Heavy, clean. Are you right to it? Clean, don't lose it.
Heads top, toppy.
Clean though, don't
Toppy,
lose it.
toppy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, it's coming.
Slide it.
Slide.
They're both gone almost. Just a hair on Di's side.
Yep.
Normal.
Yep.
Chance for the double now, of course. Hitting this here, driving this one here. The other way, actually.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Hurry hard! Hurry!
Diane Nelson closes to the stone. Georgina Hawks out in front. Big scrub, trying to hold the line, get the double. Nice shot, great rushing.
What you call, that's what you play, that's what you got. Now you're line 3.
Shot.
Thanks for holding that for me when I turned it in. I'm like, hurry.
Catches it just enough to catch the back one, push it through the hole.
Thanks, man.
Firm.
And I guess this is an example of why Marcy was thinking they should hit the open one with her last rock. Yes, her rock slid too far, so it wasn't exactly what was called, but boy, how many times do we see that, Ray, where you leave rocks around the back and you get into trouble.
Whoa!
Chance for the double here.
Whoa! Whoa! Clean! Yeah! Yeah! Whoa, whoa.
Play the other double.
And through the hole.
Okay. Hit the stick.
Kind of wait.
Nope. No.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it's a harder double if you hit the stick there.
I think normal. Yeah, I think it might be a bit stiffer out there, guys. I'm for normal at it. Just stay with it. Yep. Whoa. Clean. Yep.
Little stiffer, Linda means.
A little heavier on the side. We thought maybe we saw that earlier with a draw. A little more speed to try and control the line, and it worked out pretty well for
Yeah,
them.
to line 3, and
good sweeping, guys.
boy, Nelson and Wheatcroft have worked hard on both of Julie Skinner's stones.
Whoa. Number 6 in front of these.
Quickly to the game between Ontario and Nova Scotia, and that hit for Sherry Madoff. 3 yellows in 5. And it's a tie game with Pauline Jones and Nova Scotia. It's 3-3 as they go to the 5th end break as we continue with our extended coverage.
Okay. Close to that.
There's a couple options here. She's chosen to play the freeze. She definitely could play this hit on this one here, and removing it, of course, and try and roll over in front of one of these stones over here, forcing Kelly to pass it by the back 2.
Yeah, I might be tempted, Ray, partly because what we've seen is in that center line area, there's been a few problems calling the line, and so a hit is not an automatic, even though it looks like it's wide open. And this one, boy, weight and line have to be perfect.
Line's tight.
Line's okay. Line's good. Just for weight, line's good. Line's really good.
Right to it!
Hard, guys, hard! Gotta go hard. Hard, guys, hard, hard, hard. As far as you can. Come on, bring it in for 3rd. hard. Come on, come on, come on. Right down, right down, right down, right down, right down. Good sweeping, girls.
It'll be nice to
Hey.
cross a little bit.
Oh, we hit and flop that way,
Well, we can play the out turn and just get it wide side. If you roll out, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a shot.
Well, you can see what's happening here, obviously.
There? Yep. Okay.
I mean, if you do hit and roll
piling
over
up
there, that's
for
fine. We'll play it early.
Team Canada.
They are that.
Okay, guys.
Hey, Kelly.
Okay. Play this early.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Clean.
Just
Clean.
clean.
Only. Clean only.
Whoa, right off, right off.
On that one.
We'll make one to that side one. Heavy duty.
Trot.
Look at this. Not quite enough.
Woo, almost though.
Nearly had the backing to lie 4, but still line 3.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna call them on it to get the double on the side.
It's all right.
Good shot.
Just get out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I threw it clean.
That was smart.
Just maybe a little.
Once again, an attempt at the freeze. And what you're looking for is something like this.
All right, just to it, you guys.
Something
line
like
and then
that
sweep
would
it
work
there,
out
okay?
very well.
But in this situation, Ray, he would have to be almost perfect, wouldn't it? I mean, you can still clobber it if it's at an angle. She has to be right on the face.
Yeah,
right on
she
the
has to
nose.
get it. You're right. She has to get it right on the angle to, you know, to get it.
It's got to curl a bit. Where is it?
Save giving up
Whoa,
2, maybe
whoa,
3.
No line. Whoa. Is it to it? Make sure it's to it.
to
There
it.
was it. Line's good.
Line's
Whoa, if
good.
you can. Whoa, if you
Gotta
can.
move
Whoa, if you can.
Right to it.
Got to be to it and right on the nose.
Shot.
Well, so close, but
You squeeze it out and get 4.
well, you could. But what you're really concerned about here is just getting your 3 points. You clip the back one on the way past, or you roll a shooter out. It's hit it thin and roll a shooter out, then you'll score 3 that way. If you hit it on the nose, kind of, you'll peel the back one and get through 3 that way. So what she'll do, the 2 things, obviously, she can come down, she can hit this rock thin and push it through here. She would lose the shooter, so she would score the 3 points this way. Or if she happens to hit it on the nose, killing this one, and then this yellow rock would go this way, and you'd get the 3 points that way. What you can't do is come across the face.
No, a straight back jam, and you'd only get 1.
Final stone right out of her hand. Here go Nelson. Here go Wheatcroft now, trying to hold it for her. Can't come across the face. Oh, and that's how she'll get the 3 with the pick. Team Canada picks up 3 here in the 5th. And a lot of credit has to go to that front end of Diane Nelson, Georgina Wheatcroft. Great brushing on the stones of Julie Skinner. And again here, avoids the jam at the back. 3 go on the board for the defending champions. Kelly Law leads by 4 midway through this opening game here in Sudbury.
We got lots of time, eh?
The Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN from Sudbury, Ontario is brought to you by Scotty's Facial Tissue. So soft, so strong.
It's been almost a year now since the death of Canada's Queen of Curling, Sandra Schmirler, and now every first Saturday of the Scott will be Schmirler's Day. Pleased to be joined by Stephen Blythe, who is the marketing manager for Scott Paper Limited. And on this Sandra Schmirler Day here at the Scott, tell me about the new foundation.
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me down, Vic. We're very excited about the Sandra Schmirler Foundation, which was established by Scott Paper and the Canadian Curling Association. The mission of the foundation is very, very simple: to assist families with children suffering from life-threatening situations. And we're very excited about this particular foundation.
And how did it get started? Yourself, obviously. Who seeded it?
It was seeded originally by the Canadian Curling Association. They made a donation of $10,000. Following that, Scott Paper Limited has guaranteed an additional $75,000 to the foundation through our Celebrating Sandra promotion running in retail stores across Canada.
So there's a way that you at home can participate. You can rip off the little send-in ballots at your displays, buy the pins, and the money will all go to the Sandra Schmirler Foundation. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vic. Cheers.
Thank you. You bet. Three-time Canadian champion, three-time world champion. She touched many on the ice and through television. Mentioned the pins, the hand-in-hand pins. $10. There's the phone number. There's the address. So you can contribute to the Sandra Schmirler Foundation. Joined now by Shannon England, Sandra Schmirler's husband. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, Vic.
Last time we spoke, of course, was a few days after your wife's death, and it's coming up to the one-year anniversary, and quite obviously people are wondering how you're doing.
I'm doing fine. We're doing okay.
The girls?
The girls are doing really well. I think that's what keeps you going and keeps you very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have time to sit down and...
Tell me a little bit about the foundation and how you reacted to Scott Paper and the CCA establishing this foundation for families with children in grave situations.
I know, it was just a wonderful, wonderful gesture on their parts to come up with that. I know they really wanted to do something to have this legacy for Sandra. They thought so highly of her. So it was wonderful that they came up with that. And the charities that they've chosen are fantastic. I mean, that's what's near and dear to our hearts as the children that we can help, so.
Well, I said to you earlier when we saw each other again, I said, talked to a friend of mine just recently, not very familiar with the game, but knew of your wife, knew of Sandra, as so many people did. Aren't you, to this day, surprised by who she touched?
Absolutely. I mean, it's ongoing, like you said. Just people, you know, here, even in Sudbury, walk up and, you know, a lot of them weren't curling fans, but just said, yeah, they just thought the world of her. Just the way she was. It was that personality, that smile, you know, just that little prairie girl, you know, about her, so. Well,
I tell you what, as you are, and your daughters and your family, we will be thinking of Sandra, too. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Vic.
Thanks. Truly a great champion, and not to be soon forgotten. Canada's curling queen, the three-time Canadian, and three-time world champion. And every first Saturday at the Scott, to now be known as Sandra Schmirler Day. We welcome you back to Sudbury. All the games have reached the halfway point in this opening draw. And Quebec with a steal of 1 in 5 with a 3-1 lead over Manitoba. They've gone to the 6th and completed that, and New Brunswick is within 1 of Saskatchewan. Our featured game is now 6-2 as we get set to resume play. And Ontario with 3 in the 5th, all tied with Nova Scotia. Has the ice changed at all? Let's find out. Let's reread the ice now with Ray, brought to you by Nokia.
Well, I think the building's warmed up a little bit, Vic, and we have seen going away in particular in this area down in here, just in this area here, it looks like it's a little softer. Also, Linda did mention that the odd stone, when you throw down the center line, has been holding and not breaking as much as the stones that you play from the outside in.
Here at the Sudbury Arena, our home for the next 8 days.
good.
As we play the last of the lead stones, and Alberta's Karen McNamee. Team Canada line 2.
Bring it right back.
Well, Rennie's
right
doing
back
exactly
here.
what she has to do, Linda. She has to, I mean, this is the kind of game you can get beat up badly if you don't execute. But, you know, she threw got the rock out in front of the free guard zone area, and she's trying to use it by going around it. And unfortunately, that just didn't break enough. This is one of those shots for Georgina where she's going to play the back one, but if you happen to run off the front one, that's fine.
You notice that the front rock that they played is not that far over. I've talked many times about corner guards versus center guards, and the fact that the area is closing down where you play all guards because you like to be able to maneuver rocks around that center line area.
Whoa! Okay, that's fine. Die. No, she said we whoa, because we weren't by.
There's a couple of things you could do here. You can see that she's decided to play a guard on this stone, but you could also come down and just freeze a rock right into that position right there.
There's a couple of ways you could use those red ones to make it very difficult for Team Canada to remove your own rock.
Okay, easy now. Line's good.
Rocks in play. That's what Alberta needs.
Way out there.
Tina McDonald.
It's going to come down real hard real fast. Oh, we got no line.
Yep, finish. Whoa, no. Leave it high. Leave it high. Leave it way high. Way high.
Hair on die side?
Just a hair.
Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah.
Whoa! Whoa!
Right off.
Whoa!
Uh-oh.
So you get it the other way?
Whoa, right off.
You don't want it that way. Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Little up. Oh, sorry.
Linda, let's take a look at the numbers after 5, brought to you by True Value.
Well, if you wondered how Team Canada had done in planning and preparing for this event without provincial playdowns, just look at the numbers down the left-hand side, shooting in the 90% range. Tough for Alberta, who are also playing pretty well. And if you want to look at one key factor for those first 5 ends, well, it really was the play of Julie Skinner and one very big shot in the 5th end. Alberta was coming on, trying to get back in this game, and this beautiful double by Julie sets up the big 3 and 5 and gets Team Canada into a lead of 4 points at this point in the game. Big numbers for Julie at 98% in those first 5 ends.
I can see about that much.
Yeah, that was it's a huge shot that just turned that end right around, Linda.
I'd rather peel the guard. Even if we roll over on top of ours, it's not bad.
Yeah, I didn't roll in front of ours. It's not bad.
Just going to peel the guard, take the front one off.
Yeah.
Okay, just throw control.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
She wants to roll in front of her own stone. The stone's sitting in the 4-foot.
Yes. Yep.
Julie Skinner.
A little dangerous by leaving this rock out in front. If you don't get the perfect roll, it can be used against you.
Okay, Julie.
Run it back. Get them both.
Right out. Right
Back
out.
12.
Hurry.
Head out the back. Very nice. Now she's left that long off center guard. Does that present a problem?
Well, it can, Vic.
That curls too much there.
You could freeze into the red ones now. You could take your stones and put one in here. You could play the come around, which she's chosen to do, around to this position here.
Lots of room.
Okay. Yeah. Line's okay.
Just for weight.
Lots of
Tons of
room.
room.
Tons.
Lots of weight.
Put T-line or so back.
Right off.
Whoa!
Right
Come
off.
down a bit.
Coming down.
I think in this case, then I may
Tons
have
of room, though.
No, needs it.
played down in front of the stone in the 4-foot, tried to freeze in front of the stone in the 4-foot. You always have this guard out in front.
Finish it up.
Yeah, it looks pretty tempting to play in front of those red rocks. There's lots of ways a jam can be made by Team Canada.
Well, there seems to be a little natural pocket.
Okay.
Well, if you freeze it on the face of the one on the 4-foot, or even angle freeze on the high one, then you really are in a good position. But this stone can be seen a little bit.
Can I throw like board or control?
She just wants to pick it.
Oh.
She just wants to
Let's throw this then.
Okay. Control. Okay.
Clean. Yep. Hard. Hurry. Hurry. Hard. Whoa. Whoa. Shot. Like that?
Yeah.
Good sweeping, guys.
Team Canada without the hammer line, too.
I don't mind doing that kind of weight there, because then I just... If you hit
That's
the
your normal.
front, then...
I thought you needed normal.
Marcy Balderston.
Line's good, clean. Lots, clean.
Yep.
Yes, hurry. Hard line.
Hard, guys.
Hard line.
Tina McDonald closest to the stone. McNamee out in front.
Hard.
Whoa.
Just feathers it.
Set.
And all the way through.
Shoot. That one sure curled funny. Ow. Darn. Sorry, Renee. That one just.
They're just throwing the same shot.
But Team Canada with only 2 stones left, Linda, she's going to try and close this right up now. Earlier in the end, she would maybe peel the front one, but
You come top 12, that's
this is
fine.
Kelly's first stone.
Yeah. You haven't thrown a draw yet, have you?
Touch more.
Just looking for a guard in front of shot stone.
Guarding or yeah, she's still guard. Same weight up there? Yep.
She's throwing it.
Well, then she'd throw the intern still.
What's the other turn do coming in there?
I know.
Karen's guard.
I know. That's true. You want to throw the camera out and try to make a good one in? With the out turn. Okay, we're going to go around. Yep.
You like it? I like it. She's
it's
going there
okay.
anyway, right? This forces her to take a different turn if we make
Yeah.
this. Do you want to go talk to her? We got lots of time.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, you know, if I put the guard up, she's got nothing over here. The only thing is she's got that intern. She doesn't make it. And then we stick it to her.
They've had 4 chances to make it, though.
Doesn't matter.
I don't mind if you put this center line.
This is good.
If you're
But then
in,
she'd leave her the double,
right?
I guess.
If
So.
you're in. But then she goes around and we can't get
Center
to
line,
it.
top 12.
No, not like that. Nice try to.
Well, we'll try to make a good one in with the out turn.
Yeah.
And if not, you know, if anything, something that we can play with next time if we need to.
How's that?
Okay. I think
We
on your
think down
style
this
you just got
path.
out here.
Oh, yeah.
Linda, almost
See, what do you
as if
think
there's
down this path?
too many choices.
Honey,
Which
touch left.
shot,
About the weight.
in your opinion, would put the most pressure on Alberta?
Well, I think this is a good choice in that it puts pressure on Alberta. And what they were worried about by playing the guard is they left Alberta the same intern come around they've tried many times, and they didn't like that idea. So this probably puts more pressure on Renee. And what they're hoping is it baits her into playing an out-turn tap or something that is probably less easy, less a better opportunity to have a miss rather than a make by their opponent.
I like the come around better, too.
Once again, it's up to Nelson and Wheatcroft. Get it by. Oh, they just did. Now where's it going to stop?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's okay.
A little too deep. Unfortunately, they had to brush it hard. You take that stone and move it back a little bit.
I was a bit tight.
It would have been
That's all right.
the top of the
Need to
fourth, but
sweep
an
it.
excellent shot.
Yep.
They just had to brush it a bit. So it's
Sorry.
a little too deep.
It's a little tight. They had to sweep it the whole way.
Yeah.
It was pretty good weight, though, I think, eh?
Yeah, I got 1378 on it, so it's 4.5-ish. Yeah. Good shot.
Now, don't you find this curious? She's had all those chances to
Right
learn
on
the
top.
ice with the other turn, and now she's going to come with this turn?
Well, the problem with the other turn is she has less chance of getting on the button side of this. If you put it on the button side of that rock, even if it's not perfect, there's a chance there's a tap back jam by your opponent. The other way, it's easier to pick out, perhaps. So this is half of what Team Canada wanted to do. They encouraged her now to play the out turn, but what they don't want is her to make the perfect shot.
Give Marcy an idea.
And if you do move the stone up a foot, Linda, then that shot isn't there.
Exactly. A lot of room.
Close line.
Line's good.
Oh, line's good.
Line's really good.
There. Line's really good.
Tapping. Tapping.
No.
Tapping. Whoa. Let it cut in there.
Sit down.
Cut in there, right on the corner, a little bump.
Good job, Ren.
Thanks. Good shot, Red.
I'm like singing to it.
Sit on it.
Yeah. Good.
Same weight.
Yep. Hey, Cal.
Hey.
Just out on top of it.
Right down on top of it, Victor. That was the danger in Kelly going that deep. And she had the perfect weight. Unfortunately, had to brush it. And you heard her say as she came down the ice that she was a little inside. So,
no line.
but she hit the stick. Could have left it. It would have had a top 4 foot. And this freeze was not the freeze that Rennie made. A great shot she made. Would not have been there.
We're just going to tick it.
You don't want to bounce off of this.
Get the roll over.
Sit. Okay, Kelly.
And that's what she does. She bounces into the open.
Too heavy.
Okay.
Good try.
You know, it's so easy from up here, but that rock can be anywhere a little light. It just can't be a little heavy. If it's a little light, you block the path for the second point to come in. As soon as you're deep in those, and I can say it again, it's easy from up here, but as soon as you're deep on those, the shot is so much easier for your opponent.
Halfway.
You make a good point, Lou. I mean, if you're short there, even, you know, it's really tough to get the deuce. It can be done, but it's tough.
But even go back to Kelly's first one. She's in great position until she throws it.
Yeah, she just was too deep.
You know, and then now it opens the door and opens the door again. So instead of Renee Sonnenberg maybe forced to give up one here or face a difficult shot, she's now looking at a possible 2.
Clean.
Fairly simple 2, actually. I mean, you have to throw them, but
Whoa.
that's how they got here. Making shots just like this.
Whoa. Don't touch. Wow. Whoa. Good shot.
Just like that.
Yep.
2 yellow. 2 for Alberta here in the 6th. Renee Sonnenberg within 2 as she tries to get back into it against the defending champions.
Good, guys. Let's get a little nervous there. It's on there.
NASCAR begins with their Super Bowl to kick it all off. It's the Daytona 500. TSN has coverage Sunday, noon Eastern time. Bill Elliott. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. He's on the pole. What a great winter day. Not a cloud in the sky. We're in Sudbury. Opening day coverage of this Scott Tournament of Hearts. Past the midway point and our extended look. And the game between New Brunswick and Saskatchewan after Kathy Floyd had gotten herself back into it. Down 5-4. Final stone for Michelle Ridgway. Saskatchewan. That's a neat double to get 2 in a 7-4 lead. Updating you on the other scores, Quebec continues to lead Manitoba 3-1 as they play in the 7th. They're on to the 8th and playing lead stones, Saskatchewan and New Brunswick. Alberta is back into it, trailing by 2 in our featured game. And Nova Scotia with 1 and 6, a 4-3 lead over Ontario.
We're there.
Oh, then.
It's coming down.
Line's great. It's all yours.
Does Kelly Law feel
Nice
as
shot,
if she
guy.
may have given those points away a little bit, Ray?
Well, you always hate to have a situation like that where you set it up kind of for your opposition to get the deuce. I mean, it was her first shot that really caused it because she was in a pretty good position to maybe, even steal the end a little bit. But we talked earlier about the fact that it had been earlier in the end, she probably would have just peeled the guard off. But she had a chance to kind of close it off a little bit, and she came too deep. And let's give the credit where the credit is due, and that's to Renee Sonnenberg, who made a great come around freeze and then a nice little hit for the 2.
Back line.
But in answer to your question, yeah, you're kind of mad at yourself for letting her off the hook like that, because you kind of had her in trouble that whole end.
Just kicking over. Okay, let's go. Control, guys. Right at it.
Clean. Whoa, guys. Whoa.
Normal.
Whoa. Yep. Yep.
Good shot.
Okay.
That's good.
Team Canada setting it up again after Ray said letting the other team off the hook a little bit. You'd love to come back with a great end and set up at least a deuce for Kelly and her team.
Normal.
Tina McDonald.
Yep. Hurry! Hard!
This is a spot we talked about where there's been a lot of action right about in this area here, a lot of movement. She got this started, though, out of her hand. They got it by.
Wonderful brushing by McNamee and Balderston.
Got my blood boiling a little.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. I think we're above the tee line, George. Okay. Maybe it's a little harder out here.
You go back an end or two, and you can remember that Kelly in this situation came around the top guard, but in this case, the stone in the rings is in front of the tee line, so
That wasn't very pretty.
Julie referred to that. So she's playing to the open side.
Right back, you girls.
Trying to lie two, take away the hit and roll by getting it back.
All the way. Oh.
You're better.
We can already hear the sweepers on both teams really working hard. It's a long week, too. You have to be in top shape to keep that up all week.
That is the perfect positioning.
50? Throw it to you. 66. Oh, okay, I was wrong.
Lots of room. Lots of room.
Weight's pretty.
Stay
Weight's
close.
good.
Lots of room. Way out. Way out. Way out. Coming now. Yep. Yes. Hurry hard. Hurry hard. Right to it. Right to. Easy.
Okay, tap.
That's a great example of that late finish you were talking about, Ray, when you were reading the ice, how it held on the 4-foot line. You even heard the skip calling way out, and then it was almost panic time to get it by the guard.
Hey, George.
It's a good call. Get the front rock off. 6-4 lead with the hammer.
Right off. Spinning out of control. You might not be making that.
Georgina Wheatcroft gets nothing.
Okay.
The expression tells it all, does it not?
What do you
I hate
think?
to monkey around with that and mess up our guard. I don't know. Do we want to miss?
You want it? We can just block this, and then maybe use it later. This is fine.
Team Canada is still shot rock. That's the red rock behind the yellow stone. So the placement of a stone to be used at a later date.
Lots of room. Just tight. Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
Top 8.
Whoa. Line's good.
Mine's good. Mine's good. Too much.
Whoa.
Say full 8.
Whoa.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
Right over, Tina.
Okay.
Oh.
Too deep.
Well,
Double might be there.
it's not all
Is there
bad.
double?
She can catch it on the outside. And
yep. She knows the angles, Di.
Catching it on the outside here.
Normal.
Trying to push it this way, catch this one, maybe move that one that way.
Okay.
Roll over here.
Whoa.
I talked about how well Julie played in the first 5. A chance to get her skip out of trouble here.
Whoa! Yeah! Whoa!
On the outside. Oh, very nice to split it around the stone edge of the button.
Terrific shot.
Team Canada line 2.
I guess it was all bad.
Yeah,
just too deep. The guard.
Alberta stone too deep and sort of beside the other one.
What am I doing out here? Oh, is there a horseshoe somewhere? Yeah, I knew she knew the angle, so. That's why I thought it was there, huh? Straight? Didn't move. That was good. That was right where we wanted.
Line's tight.
A little bit less.
Line's tight. Hard.
Hard, guys.
Hard.
Hurry hard.
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 Oh, yep.
Yep.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah.
Tina? Yep.
On the guard.
Shoot.
And now that stone is buried.
Like that?
Shoot. Sorry, Renee. That was tight. That's all right. Oh. That's terrible. So let's throw it on the floor for the half side. And let you guys sweep it, right?
Okay. Yep.
Way out there.
Lots of line. Clean it.
Julie Skinner.
Lots of room.
We got lots.
Got a curly bit.
Okay.
No, it's coming down. It's coming down.
Going back?
Yeah.
I gotta go back.
Line straight.
There's a good call by the front end, communicating that it's too much weight. They didn't want to leave it in the same kind of position as Alberta had happening, where there was a double setup. So they took it to the back.
I agree. That was a good call by the front end. You could see it was not going to get to the position they wanted it on top of the 8 foot. So they got it well back. Because if you stop it in the back of the 4 foot, then they sit on top of it, you're really in trouble to get it out of there. Good call by the front end.
Line was good.
Those front end players are very, very smart.
Calling the double all the way, weren't you? Yes, I thought.
Spoken by a true lead.
Great shot. Thanks.
By the way.
A few W's tonight, hey?
Yeah.
Linda, is the hit and roll there, or is it too flat?
It's a tough roll, Vic. It was something she maybe could have played earlier when they had a stone frozen to shot rock to get out of trouble, but it's not a great stone to use to position your rock in for shot or second shot.
Top eight. Good.
Lots of room.
Top eight.
Lots of
Got
room.
room.
Too much.
Lots of room. It's way out.
Too much.
Way out. It's way over here.
Skip stones.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yep. Now right back. Right back.
Yep.
Right back.
Yep. Hard, guys.
All the way back.
Hard,
Hurry.
Tina. Hard. Right back. Good sweeping, guys.
A little heavy, eh?
Just a reminder, Corey Warren has the next edition of Sports Desk for you at 7 Eastern Time, 4 Pacific.
Board. Yeah. We gotta move that.
Yep.
Right.
A little bit more. They're hanging on the line for a while, eh?
Go there.
Yep, I like that right there.
Okay.
We don't want to hit the guard.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's half. You're better than I am.
Board weight?
Whatever kind of weight you want to throw.
Yeah.
You know, we really just need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
If she's throwing the board weight, then she won't be saving the shooter.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Hack the board.
Shot stone is
Okay,
very
Kel.
nicely
Okay, guys.
buried.
Right at it.
Team Canada looking to pick out the yellow one that's in front of the red and sit 3.
Whoa.
Control.
Clean. Close. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa.
We got
Just looking for the pick.
Clean. Yeah. Just clean. Yeah.
Oh, they just, it moved late.
Nice pick.
Needed to be on it.
Jeez. Sorry. Sorry, Kel. Okay.
Had that.
I know.
Okay. I was saying clean and then it just grabbed.
Oh, I hate when I do that. Why weren't we on that?
Yeah, I said clean and then they went clean and it went, eh.
Yeah, I was saying yeah the whole way.
Sorry.
Vicky, go back to your comment quite early in this game about the cleaning procedure and how much pressure to put on the broom for cleaning. When the rock is made, when you have a corner, in that case of the stone in the house, and you're only trying to pick it, that's when you either go hard clean or really hard on the brush. There's no reason to stay off that one at all.
Same kind of deal. If we can sock it on the button, but short's not horrible.
Okay. Weight was perfect. Okay.
Well, you heard their comment. She wants to get it to the face of the button, but if she stopped at short where I put the second stone or short where I put the third stone.
A little tighter.
A little less.
Line's good.
Final stone for Alberta and Renee Sonnenberg.
Yeah. Hurry, line now, hard line.
Now it's up to the M&Ms, McDonald and McNamee. Big scrub. And all over that guard. And look what this opens up now for Team Canada.
Oh boy. Sorry guys, it's tight. It sure didn't throw that one as clean, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, just if you're a little lazy with them, they just curl,
Just
eh?
go wow.
Shoot, your weight was really
Okay,
good.
explain that if you're a little lazy with them.
Well, one of the things if you cheat on the inside and she didn't get out cleanly to the broom, and then that's what she's referring to, is she just cut it off a little bit.
I think you guys can keep your brooms on it.
You can see how the hand comes off. It doesn't really apply the turn in a positive manner. It kind of slides off the handle, doesn't put a good rotation on it, doesn't get it cleanly to the stick, and that's when they really curl. This is a huge break for Team Canada. After making a mistake themselves, they get a chance for an open hit.
Especially in that particular area down there, when you are a little lazy with the handle and the rotation, as Linda mentions, that they're kind of at the mercy of the ice surface.
Shot.
Go.
1, 2, 3 for the defending champions, Team Canada, here in the 7th.
Holy, that thing pick, eh? Okay. You were cleaning it too.
Kelly Law didn't expect to have that shot after her first one. But the defending champions break it open. Through 7. They lead 9-4 over Alberta, and Renee Sonnenberg wants to talk about it. The defending champions, Kelly Law and her team, scoring 3 in the 7th, now leading 9-4 over Alberta. Let's update you our extended coverage of this opening draw. Manitoba within 1. Quebec has the hammer. 2 first-time teams at this year's Scott. Quebec leading 3-2. New Brunswick, Kathy Floyd making a game of it. 7-6 she trails Saskatchewan. Michelle Ridgway has the hammer there. That's our featured game as they begin play in the 8th. And Nova Scotia against Ontario. And they're 4-4 as they play in the 8th. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, that's the game we'll focus on. Nova Scotia, Ontario. Let's meet these two teams competing in this first draw from the Coldwater Curling Club, Central Ontario, the Ontario champions. Their lead is Sherry Cordina, Andrea Laws, Janet Brown, Sherry Madaw, and the 2-time Canadian champion in her 15th appearance at a Scott, Colleen Jones, the familiar Canadian championship team of Nancy Delahunt, Marianne Way and Kim Kelly from the Mayflower Curling Club in Halifax. Started us off as it might be a runaway. 3 straight steals by Nova Scotia, but you can see that 3 and 5 for Sherry Madaw. And now they've traded singles, and it's 5-4. Nova Scotia leading as we go to the 9th. Ontario with the hammer.
Well, it's kind of interesting, Linda, because the 2 teams with so much experience, and you know, we haven't been on that game, we haven't watched it, but it really doesn't look like it's been a very well curled game. There's been a lot of misses, and we saw a few of them earlier when we did our, you know, when we came back to our game with updates. But there's been a number of misses by both skips in particular. So it's really been interesting that I would have thought both those teams would have come out and played a little better than they've been playing. But it's 4-4 in anybody's contest right now.
Good.
5-4? Well, it was 4-4 at one time, wasn't it?
You know, as much as you try to save it, you can't.
There's no way.
There's no.
Well, it's like, you know, in the 15th hole, I'm 73. I got to finish the 16th, 17th, and 18th to be 89.
I'll give you credit. Credit for trying to save, but there was no way. That hole was too deep.
But the amusing part of it, you should have seen you too. It took you about 1/2 a second to flash your fingers.
Not that we enjoy pointing out your mistakes at all.
But with the score of 5-4 and Ontario having the hammer, it seems clear for Ontario that they're going to try and blank the sand, retain the hammer, and go for 2 and 10.
Control.
The Ontario lead, Sherry Cordina.
Whoa. Looks like normal. Normal. Yeah, it's got it. Hey, that's good. Tight.
Marianne Way, Nova Scotia, Colleen winning the Canadian Championship with this team 2 years ago. And then tried to defend last year as Team Canada.
These are the 2 teams, too, Linda, 2 of the 4 teams that have the Olympic play-down berths.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa, baby. Whoa, whoa. Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Colleen, of course, winning her berth through, being the Canadian champion in 1999, and Sherry Madaw's team winning it through one of the Bonspiel berths in the fall of this season.
And so then you have Kelly Law also getting it by winning the Canadian Championship. She'll be at the Olympic trials, as will Michelle Ridgway, who won a spot in a tour qualifier. So in effect, you could finish 5th here.
It is possible.
And get the spot. And then, of course, there's a last chance. Bonspiel being held, I think, in the next few weeks. Linda, in Alberta, Okotoks, is that it?
That's right. Yep, they have.
That'll be the final spot for on the women's side of the Olympic trials.
And where would that be, Okotoks?
Okotoks is north of Calgary. South of Calgary?
South, I think, Vic.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Got him, Ray.
Is it north of Lethbridge? Okay. Oh, yeah, we're going. Now it's on. Where's Coldwater? You should know that.
Why should I know that?
Because it's close to Orillia.
I should know it then. That was a number of years ago.
Just clean.
Very familiar face, Andrea Lodge, playing second for this Ontario team. Of course, was on the Alison Goring team that won the 1990 Scott Tournament of Hearts.
We mentioned this last chance Bonspiel, Linda, for the remaining spot in the women's side of Olympic trials.
And some very familiar names. Shannon Kleibrink skipping Sandra Schmerler's team. And Kathy Borst, the 1998 champion. Cheryl Bernard, Cindy Street. Lots of teams, you notice, there's some Saskatchewan teams that we've seen over the years, and Alberta teams, Renelle Bride, and Ann Merklinger, who was runner-up last year. So it's a combination of teams that had either close finishes in a Scott Tournament of Hearts or close finishes on the Women's Curling Tour or something like that. Those are the people invited to the final Bonspiel to determine the final berth for the Olympic trials.
Janet Brown.
Right on! Clean, clean, clean. Good throw, Janet.
Janet, for the longest time, skipping her own team in Ontario.
Just off center a bit, Kim.
And so these are the teams that have,
halfway,
in fact, qualified, and those to be decided.
You look at both events, this Olympic trial event shaping up to be very, very difficult, but even look back to the list we just saw to try and get that final berth, that final one on this list. And that's a tremendous list of teams that are very close to being in championship form. So wonderful events coming up in the women's curling circuit.
Well, Sherry Madaw getting so far to this point, having a terrific opportunity, possibly blanking this, which is exactly what you said, Linda. She, when the first rock slipped into the rings, she just decided to play that wide open. And
Michelle Ridgway right now in a very close game with New Brunswick.
Yeah!
But she will be our featured game tonight when she goes against Manitoba. And Karen Young in her fierce first appearance
Right over. I was just telling
from
George, there's a lot of flashes
St.
going
Vital
on.
Curling Club. And right now Manitoba has come back with a steal of 3 in the 8th, now leading Quebec 5-3, playing 9.
On this side and that side, like cameras.
I can throw a 5 for this, right? I can throw a 5, right? Yeah.
Now make a note here, because as Colleen gets ready to throw, it is her lead, Nancy Delahunt, who is holding the brush. And Kim Kelly, who would usually hold the brush,
halfway,
is now sweeping. It's because Colleen, through her profession as a broadcaster for CBC, has done a lot of traveling. They've had to play a lot of games without her. And Nancy skipped the team, so they got used to Nancy holding the brush.
I think if people think back to, Vic, how this team works, Nancy has always given a great deal of input to the team as far as angles and shots within the house from her lead position. So it makes a lot of sense to see her hold the broom now and call the line for her skip.
Yeah. Okay,
Nancy wanted to wish happy birthday to her son, who is celebrating his 7th birthday today.
looking for another peel here.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Clean it. Clean, yep. Clean. Thanks. Thanks.
Sherry Madaw, who was a Saskatchewan champion.
Oh.
And of course,
Duh, how did this happen? I know.
played with Kim Gillard.
Why don't people get it, Janet?
Won an Ontario championship as well.
Is it just because years
and now
years, like,
skipping her own team.
Shot just over a little more.
I know, but like I can walk up there super quick enough.
She's been one of the strongest throwers in women's curling, and obviously in her 15th appearance has been for many years, Colleen Jones.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slots. Slots. Hard.
So Sherry Minogue played this end wide open. She now gets a chance to hit this stone and try and roll out to maintain last rock playing the 10th.
So I'll try and throw peel.
What you don't want to do is hit and stick. Nova Scotia 5-4. 9th end.
I'll try and throw peel.
Chance for Ontario to blank.
I mean, wouldn't you just kick yourself, though, if you've done so well to this point and then you happen to stick around?
You'd hate that, wouldn't you, Vic?
Like to roll it out if they can. And there it goes. And so the plan works for Madon, Ontario. They blank the 9th. They'll go to 10 with the hammer and trailing. Nova Scotia leads 5-4.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ridgway from Team Saskatchewan. Watch us tonight on TSN.
And we'll be paying close attention. Hopefully Ray will as well get the score right. It'll be Saskatchewan against Manitoba. And we'll have it for you, draw number 2 at 7:30 Eastern time. Don't miss a chance of a guess. Continuing our extended look, and let's check in on the game that we started with, Team Canada against Alberta, as they play in the 8th. You remember Team Canada, Kelly Law scored 3 in the 7th to move in front 9-4. Final stone for the Alberta skip, Renee Sonnenberg. Trying to make it a little closer. And she draws for the pair. And so they go to 9. And it's 9-6, Team Canada leading. We mentioned how Manitoba had trailed throughout and then stole 3 and 8 to take a lead on Quebec. Look at that, New Brunswick, and look at the points they've stolen. 1 and 3, 1 and 6, 1 more and 9. Kathy Floyd now tied with Saskatchewan 7-7. Our featured game is now playing the 9th, Team Canada with the hammer. And this is the game we'll focus on now as we go to 10, Nova Scotia leading.
This is one of the most interesting situations in curling nowadays. I think it always maybe has been, and that is the situation where you're 1 point ahead without the last rock. And Ray, there's a lot of different ways to play it. Colleen's tendency, the Nova Scotia skip, is to play a fairly conservative game, so she's called the first one in the house. The corner guard has gone up by her opponent, Ontario, and she's calling her second rock also in the house behind the corner to try and prevent the opponent from getting in behind there next.
Yeah, she's going to try and defend that corner guard scenario with her own come around, and you want to get this to the top of the 12-foot if you can. The top of the 8-foot would have been fine.
She won't be happy with that. That sets up another corner guard for Ontario.
You like here? They're about a foot out. About a foot out. Right here? Do you like this?
Intern come around.
Where are we? Looks like lots.
Sherry Cordina. Andrea Laws
like
closes to the
lots.
stone. Janet Brown out in front.
It's a lot. Right back? Okay. Yeah, I never said whoa. Did she call you on right away?
Back 8.
No.
Marianne Way, in her 4th appearance at the Scott, throws the 2nd stone for these Nova Scotia champions.
Close.
From the Mayflower.
Yep.
In Halifax.
Hurry. Hurry. Room. Go for weight if you have to. Yep. Hard. Bye. Right to it? To it. Okay, go. Nice shot. Nice shot, Marianne. Okay,
Very nice shot. These player comparisons, Linda, are brought to you by Ford.
Well, we joined this game later, but it looks like the numbers are fairly solid. But Andrea Law's out-curling Marianne, 78% for Andrea to 71% for Marianne. As Ray said, it's maybe not the numbers overall that we're looking at, but some key misses by both teams that have caused the game to kind of seesaw back and forth to get us to this position of only 1 point apart.
Stay close.
Nice come around by Marianne, but this still gives Ontario a chance to play rocks into the house, and they've got front rocks to use.
No. Clean it. Clean it. Yep. Yep.
That's what she played.
Nice shot, Andrea. Very nice.
Colleen freeze down to the face of this. In this kind of a situation, the score 5-4, and every shot is so important. One little slip will turn this game right around. Jones trying to hold Ontario to the single. Sherry Madal looking for the deuce.
Hurry. Quick. Hurry. Hurry.
Kim Kelly and Nancy Delahunt all the crash in front. Now look at where it spills to. It'll be second shot.
Hey, Miriam. Good.
Top of the 8.
Come down to it, it's not bad. Just can't bump it. Just can't bump it. Not bad either. Want to call a time? Okay, time.
One of 2 timeouts available to
get
both
a time,
teams. Where
please?
would you like it? Do you want it down to it, or do you want it higher?
I like the call. I don't want it to face.
That one that's top 8 is bothering me too. Because they always have that tap.
Sorry.
They always have that tap, top 8 too.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah. What's your instinct? Well, my instinct was to play the same shot, but now that I see that. Is Kirsten coming down?
She's coming. She's got to walk all the way over there, walk all the way across.
Okay. And she probably should stay over there, right?
Well, we've got 2/3.
Waiting for their 5th player, Kirsten Harmark.
But if we hit and roll out, like we leave her the same shot, right?
But even if we come top 8 there, she cannot tap her red one up. She wouldn't be able to get by us. So if we were playing the freeze to it and we came up a little short, it wouldn't be.
But we got to make sure that we leave ourselves a chance for 2.
Well, 1. We got to
wow.
make sure we're 1.
What do you like, Kirsten?
Do you like top 8?
I like it, but
we got 2/3 of that.
She's always got that bump. Like even if we start to have a deuce set up, she's got that.
wait, what do you think? Either top 8 or 3? Well, what if you go top 8 and if it crosses too much?
Yeah, but then we still might not be second shot over there. If it crosses too much, eh? You gotta make sure.
It should be second shot right now, but.
Oh, I know.
It's still early. Like it's Andrea's.
She's talking about that. Stone, that's the one that she's concerned about.
Do you like going after that one with hack? Is that stupid?
Roll to the east. They gotta move it to the shot, right? It's not bad. If I crash on. Okay, Kirsten, you're done. Time's up.
Just hack? I don't know, Andrea. I don't know.
Yeah, she's very uncertain. They're looking at that redstone top 8, and yes, it is in a good spot for Colleen, but it is not that easy to tap it directly towards the button. You're probably going to get more of an angle on it.
I think she's gone back to her original call.
I wouldn't bring this too deep because there's also a chance Colleen can kind of wiggle in off this and get behind her own, and that might be the worst of all the scenarios.
Andrea Laws, who won a Canadian championship with Alison Goring in 1990.
Hurry! Whoa, 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 leave it high. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sit. Hey.
I kind of think we have to do this.
Do it now because you might not get a chance.
She's going to play the tap tap. Come down and try and tap this. Excuse me. Let's clear that.
Too much.
Tap this here. Maybe this here. Try and move it back.
I think back 12 is going to do it.
Kim's coming down to look at the angle. As I said, the angles on these two rocks are not that easy. I mean, it's definitely there, but you have to be very good about calling the line and figuring where to put the brush.
Don't think it's going to be sticky over here, Kim. Yeah, I think you're going to be fine with back 12. See, Kim, right now it's getting tricky for them to get their deuce. Yes. So that's why don't think about overthrowing it. Yeah, we just have to bump that one a little bit higher.
For you, where I'm going to throw back line.
You're not throwing back line. You're not throwing back line, though.
Okay, back 12. I'm wondering, you know, where it's got late finish
Yeah.
and you throw up a little, it won't come. Remember yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if I need a little less.
Okay.
What do you think?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
One of the things Colleen mentioned was that, you know, it is getting difficult for them to get their 2 points, is what she said. So she wants to keep those red rocks in the same types of positions. Even the shooter, she wants to hit it on the nose, tap the red one back if she can to get shot rock. Keep that 4 foot covered with your own stones.
That's true. Really, the key with this is coming to near the face of the rock you're about to raise and not just chip it over and open things up.
If you open it up, it's the worst thing you can do.
Kim Kelly in the 10th with Nova Scotia leading 5-4.
Kim was concerned about how much it would curl.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Shot stone.
Yes, it is.
Their shot now. What do you like?
Take the yellow back?
I think so.
I can just see the whole yellow.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what you're going to have to hit. It's not bad either. Just for...
Going to play this stone right here, and she has to get to the nose of it, which is all she can see.
Ours isn't going anywhere.
Try and move it back into this area
Firm
here.
weight. Just.
It'd be tough to raise that to the face of that back stone, Linda.
Very tough.
You can't see.
Whoa, close, close, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Janet Brown. Nothing yet from Laws or
Coming up. Yeah, hard on it, hard on it. Okay.
I was surprised she played quite that much weight.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that at all. I was thinking there was lots of ways to maneuver them around if you played it a little quieter. Now you're in trouble.
got room. Lots of room. Guard weight. Clean only, clean. Curling. Yep. Hard. Whoa, no rub. No rub, whoa. Good throw, Kim. It's going to be a hard hole.
Look at the numbers for Kim Kelly's draws, 96%, but overall her hits have brought it down a bit. Both players again shooting in the 70% range, and Janet Brown struggling with her draws. So that may be one of the reasons why we saw the call we just saw for Ontario.
I can't hear you at all, Janet. We basically can we stay on? What's that? Oh.
The hole's there, but it's a small one.
So you think maybe control to try and nose it? Well, you don't really want to bump it there, though. Like, it would be nice if we could nose it, and our yellow one's going to go back 8.
So then we have to play control.
Okay.
There's no way we can nose it.
No, I didn't know that. Okay. What about hack?
Well, we have a moment. Let's go quickly live. Game between New Brunswick and Saskatchewan, 10th, 7-7. You saw Kathy Floyd stole 1 in 9 to tie it. This is the final stone of the 10th for Saskatchewan and Michelle Ridgway as she draws against 2, and she is now life and death to get by her own guard top, and she will not. She'll crash in front, and it's a 1-2 steal for New Brunswick. They'll win it 9-7 over Saskatchewan here in the opening draw. Kathy Floyd from the Thistle St. Andrews steals the last 3 points to win 9-7.
It's playing through the hole, Lou.
Find the hole? No. But look at the spill.
Oh, what a break. Ontario needed to make sure that after Janet finished, there were still some options open, and they got pretty lucky on that to spill the yellow one in and open it up a bit.
Shoot. Yeah. Well.
So the Ontario stone is now shot rock after it rolls in. A little rub on the red to get it spilling. And no matter what Colleen does, at least the end is a little open as well.
Well, because of the tick, it was nice that you had that weight to get all that action. And I was surprised once again that she played so much weight to go through that hole. But that was a good, pretty good break for sure.
Skip stones. Colleen Jones.
Clean, clean.
She loves this out turn. We know that.
It's her favorite shot.
No, no, no. Hit her red, eh? Ooh,
Line 1 for sure. Line 2, possibly.
She's still shot?
Two of our more experienced skips going head-to-head in this game, and Colleen Jones's numbers better, especially look at her draws.
It just hangs like
known for her hit game quite often. She's played well in the draw game.
Well, that goes back to the comments I made earlier about this game. There was both skips just didn't play to their potential.
Just didn't want to go anywhere, eh?
This one should squirt here.
It's still wide open now.
Well, I know Janet. Well, I don't know how we could mess it up. Like, they're probably going to be hitting us anyhow, right? And at least, like, if I don't do this, she could still guard it, right? Or at least with this one, I could hit and roll here if it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Or she's got, as long as we keep the angle, she's got to be careful.
That's true.
right? So I'm just thinking back line, because we're moving a couple rocks, but we've got to come to the nose of this. Like, we probably won't be shot after this. And if we do, if we're hanging, then we can always do this. That's not bad either, okay? Edge a button. With back line.
Back line weight, she's going to hit that. Try and rearrange the angle, sit in front of it.
Thinking back line. I don't know if we'll be shot after this, but at least we can, you know, we're corner frozen.
You can see the concern of Janet Brown she's expressed. If you're not shot rock and Nova Scotia just plugs the hole, where is our next shot going to come from? That was the discussion.
Sherry's still trying to score 2 here, though.
One of the fascinating things, though, you know, Sherry's saying we may not even be shot after this, but we have them 2 stones to 1. Let's just make this one first and set something up.
Whoa! Yes! Yes! Hurry! Roll it, Sherry, quick!
Was that a case of them being caught? If you knew that, in fact, it wasn't going to curl, you could have swept it a little bit more, hit it thinner, get a bigger roll, Linda?
It's a very tough one. They wanted to make sure they made enough contact to rearrange the stones. It didn't work out that badly. It's going to depend where Colleen's shooter ends up,
and when they set
whether Sherry has a shot here for her win in this case.
Gotta play
but Colleen could make the double here.
Gotta play the double.
Hitting this one here.
Otherwise, we're giving her. They'll just
catching this one on the way by.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
Colleen Jones, final stone for Nova Scotia, right out of her hand.
Really hard! Hurry!
Kim Kelly, Marianne Way looking to make the double. Make the double, and Ontario can just tie. Make the double. No, they'll jam it. And now the win is possibly there for Ontario.
It's a draw for the win, Vic. I think it's...
oh, my God. As soon as you take a little less.
Yeah, the Ontario stone is shot rock, as you can clearly see. And it's an out-turn draw to the forefoot, to the button, for a deuce.
And we look back at her draw numbers, just 63% on her draws so far.
Yeah, it was funny. Colleen was stronger on the draw side, and here she just missed a hit, and now Sherry's going to have another look at it. There are a couple of options she could play.
Second time out's been called.
She could play the in-turn draw or tap back, Linda, is what you're suggesting?
Because she's into her last minute on the clock.
Well, I can't see quite as
her
much
first
of it.
was to draw like this, she first suggested. And now she's called a timeout, and she's thinking about coming down and just drawing to the face of this and just touching that back a little bit. Sitting in this area here for 2.
I think just straight draw, Jen, just because I can't see enough of it, you know. And
draw this way, though.
No,
you still like that?
Yeah, I do, because we're coming. Yeah, okay.
You've always been one of those that have said, if the skip has got it in their mind.
I think straight draw. We were talking about playing the same shot.
It's one thing
we're
to
shot, so
present the options, but know when. Is this a time to present the options?
But in fairness to that situation, it was Sherry herself who stopped and said, maybe I should go the other way. I agree 100%. If she goes down to play the out-turn draw and you stop her or make some conversation, have some conversation with her, that's very wrong. but in that case, she's gone back to her original thought, Lou.
And this is the shot I would play. I think the only reason it was in her mind for a moment is she just played a tap with that other turn, thought it for a moment, then went, no, the shot is the draw. Give it to the sweepers, get it to the butt.
Final stone, 5-4. Nova Scotia leads. Ontario has their shot stone. They have the tie right now. It's up to Andrea Laws and Sherry Cordina.
She's got good brushing.
Janet Brown. They're all three are out. Trying to drag it as far as they can. Get it to the lid. Get it to the button. A little more. Drag it. And they won't.
All right, guys.
It was that fraction of a second. We saw on the rock clock that it was slower than that 14-second speed, and that was the difference.
Ontario will get one.
I didn't give it a whole lot either.
Here in 10.
Now we go right into overtime.
Mada and Jones will go to an extra. The key shot of that 10th is brought to you by Husky, right?
Sherry Mada throws this not too badly, and to be honest with you, if I was a front-end curler at the very beginning of this, they watched a little bit. At the end, they got on. They brushed it very, very hard once they realized, but they didn't get it quite early enough, and it just, you can see at this point, it looks like it may slide a little bit, and now at the top of the 12-foot and the 8-foot, it starts to dig in, and that slide path, Linda, and it just stops. So it was a combination of maybe not picking it up early enough.
So we'll go to an extra tied 5-5, and the hammer will belong to Nova Scotia. Meanwhile, it's over our featured game to start this opening draw, and it will go into the book as a 10-6 final. Team Canada, Kelly Law winner over Alberta, and Renee Sonnenberg. One other game is also into an extra. Manitoba against Quebec. You'll notice Quebec stole the tying point in the 10th when Karen Young missed her final takeout, crashed on the center guard. And New Brunswick, we showed you, look at the steals in the game. You can count them up. 1, 2, 3, 5 of 9 points were stolen by New Brunswick's Kathy Floyd. As we play lead stones in this extra.
Well, that was a little bit of a mistake just there by the Ontario lead. Nice shot on her first, putting up the guard. Nancy Delahunt tried the tick, it didn't work, so the Yellowstone stayed up there. But that come around needs to be made very well by the lead. You have to get it into the 4-foot. And there's another mistake.
Yeah. Well, even short is a good stone. You just can't be back there.
Center line, a little bit closer than that one, Andrea. Okay. Losing line, big time. Oh, where it stops. Whoa. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if it's the lack of rotation on that stone, but when it's finishing, as you said earlier, Ray, that rock is just going sideways.
We talk about this all the time, and I'm sure our viewers get tired of hearing it, but it really is so important to have positive rotation when you play in arenas like this, where especially later on in the game where the slide path starts to flatten out and it's warmer in the building and you're losing your pebble a little bit, and the ice makers do a terrific job holding this throughout the game, but it's going to wear out. You can see it if you look down the slide path, you can see it. The area that's being played on a lot flattens out, so you must be positive with your rotation.
And of course, being the sheet next to the stands,
Good
May
point,
also
Victor.
present a problem. It warms up a little faster.
Yeah, for sure. The air comes down and
Halfway.
moves across the ice surface.
Clean
We've seen
it.
that, and we've talked about that in the past.
Clean, just halfway.
Those are the little things that Linda talked about earlier. And these are the things that make the difference between winning and losing.
And as a skip, it's just an added dimension, isn't it? You have to take...
Same as the first one.
It's not fourth in your mind, but you have to be cognizant of it.
Definitely. Ice is a huge factor. At this point in the game, it's the experience. Of course, Colleen Jones and Sherry Madaw with lots of experience. Colleen, especially in these arena conditions, that's where it comes into effect.
Yep.
You know exactly what to have, the weight and the line at the end of the game.
Whoa. Whoa. Roll it, Nance. Good. Try.
Well, it's a big racing weekend, of course, with Daytona coming up, the opening race of the Busch Series from Daytona. And then noon Eastern Sunday, the big one, the Daytona 500 with Bill Elliott on the pole.
Looks like a lot. Okay, clean it. Just clean. Just clean. Sit down. Sit. Tighting. Nice weight.
Good. Like that almost, eh? Okay, I'm not playing it like that again.
They were chuckling because if that had curled a little
higher.
bit differently, they could have been raising that yellow one
Chipped
top
it in a
12
bit,
in.
yeah.
It would have made it actually better for Ontario.
The guard.
Okay, line's good. Okay. Oh, just let it sit. It's really grabbing. Okay. Kind of the same thing your one did, Andrea. Yeah.
Referring to some stones that in this situation with the ice conditions changing a bit, getting a little bit of different reaction from a couple of them.
Yep. Whoa, sorry.
Kim Kelly.
Well, Sherry's at
What
the
is our
time
weight now?
in 1996.
Yeah, I know.
Thunder Bay
The one that was deep?
played Colleen Jones and
4-2, is that
lost
gonna
5-3 to this Nova Scotia team.
Ready for Skip Stone's Ontario line 2 without.
Didn't throw a whole lot on it.
Line's nice, halfway.
Pretty strong brushing.
Line's good. Just halfway easy. 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 Good judge.
Now, Lou, the question, eh?
Now the big decision.
Do you go first and take that piece
she's
of
still
pie,
got
or
such
do
a
you
tap on this one.
leave
Unless
it,
you're...
run it, and keep it open?
She goes like the peel.
So just because of the position you're back
Yeah. In this case, because that rock early in the end went back deep, not perfectly near the button area, I would be tempted to peel it off, say to Sherry, see what you can do, see how close you can get to the button. I think I'm still going to have a good chance to get there after you.
I thought if I got 2 cracks at it.
In some fashion, for sure, Linda, Colleen's going to have the 4-foot So I agree full-heartedly. Peel it off.
Yeah, she does, absolutely.
You know you're going to have to throw your last one in this kind of a situation. You just want to try to make sure that you have a shot.
Hard. Whoa. Yeah, whoa, whoa.
No mistake.
Okay. So you think about here then?
So where do you go with this one?
Try and get around to the 4 foot.
I'm just throwing back for.
You play the tap back. You can play the come around. Is she playing the tap back, Lou?
When she said the weight just now
so, yeah.
and looking at the ice, I think
just
maybe
doing
it
a
is
tap.
the tap.
Yeah.
So back
tap.
4
Thank
weight.
you, Sherry.
I'm just thinking about ice. Oh, whoops. Just thinking about ice. Wait, it is. It's a tricky spot because we were doing those freezes. Yeah.
Try and tap that stone back right there.
Yeah. Maybe a little less, Janet.
To this position right here.
Okay, so back 4 weight. Lines important.
Not great numbers, but a huge tap here would erase all those previous misses.
No line, no line, no line, no line, no line. Straight come around. Straight come around, Janet. Whoa. Whoa. Hard.
So 3 in the 8 foot. Surprising that they didn't get the ice call right, or was she too heavy?
Well, no, the weight looked pretty good, didn't you think?
So, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, the weight was perfect. She just had too much ice for the shot she was
Sorry.
playing.
I know I didn't. I know I threw it awful. Yeah.
The only thing it did do, because of the way it split the stones, there isn't an easy hit or tap on the rocks. You could come to the back one, or you could just draw to the full.
24.2.
Well, this is draw down to this area here in this game.
Do I need an inch more there?
It's a draw. And you just draw to the 4 foot, so you want to make sure you take the right ice for the draw, not take the ice for the hit.
The draw and play,
quiet tap.
play tap.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Backing is not an option.
Final stone. Colleen Jones.
You're on the other yellow
Kim
stick.
Kelly.
Sure, line's great. Clean it, clean. Clean, you got it.
Needs full 8.
You need backing, go then, yes.
Clean, yes, back in.
Mary Ann Way
Yes.
needing the backing. Boy, did they ever. Thankful to have it back there as Nova Scotia picks up the win, scoring 1 here in the extra.
Good game. Good luck in your next game. Good luck in your next game. Good luck in your next game.
Thanks,
Good luck in
Colleen.
your next
Good game.
Good game.
Nova Scotia is a 6-5 winner in this opening draw here in Sudbury.
No, that looks good.
The Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN from Sudbury, Ontario is brought to you by your Husky and Mohawk Diesel Max fuel retailers.
The other game in the extra end, Manitoba and Quebec, and you see Manitoba lying 3, final stone. Quebec without the hammer. Marie-France LaRouche, former Canadian junior champion, who at one point was up in the game 3-1, finding herself now in this extra and tied, trying to draw with the out-turn draw, crashes in front, 1, 2, 3 for Manitoba, and Karen Young from the St. Vital Curling Club will win her debut here at the Scott Tournament of Hearts.
The Scott Tournament of Hearts on TSN from Sudbury, Ontario is brought to you by Scott Towels with sponge pockets, getting you out of big messes.
Hi, I'm Michelle Ridgway from Team Saskatchewan. Watch us tonight on TSN.
And Saskatchewan will try to rebound after losing their first, really having it stolen away by New Brunswick as they go against Manitoba. We just saw an extra end winner 8-5 over Quebec. We'll have the game for you at 7:30 Eastern Time. Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Stay with us now on TSN. Coming up, the opening race of the Bush Series from Daytona, and of course the 500 noon Eastern tomorrow. Till we talk with you with Draw 2 at 7:30. On behalf of all of us, thanks for joining us here, the Scott Tournament of Hearts in Sudbury.